Dave Woloshyn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Dave will be back with us on Monday. Today and tomorrow, it's me alongside Drew Barrett with Carl Morris producing, and we are Sportstime on AM 560, 87.7 and 96.1 FM. That includes the app. That includes online. That includes Twitter, Facebook. Are we on the TikTok?
I'm not sure if we're still on the TikTok. I don't think we're on the TikTok.
Me and you need to start making groovy TikTok videos. You want to?
I mean, I have a TikTok. I've never made
you up for it?
I've never made a single video, but I'm up for it. We can do it.
Carl, you up for the TikTok?
I'm up for it. I actually have a TikTok and it has posted a few videos, so yeah, I'm up for it.
Oh, I can't wait till I'm on the TikTok. But we are on AM 560, 87.7 and 96.1, and we're with you until 6 o'clock on a very momentous day this Thursday, July 9th, 2020. A lot of news breaking from around sports, not the least of which a poll in Japan. Yeah, I'm going to start there. How about that?
Okay.
A poll in Japan, 77% of the respondents in Japan do not believe the Summer Olympics will be held next year.
I mean,
2020 move to 2021 Summer Olympics. 77%.
That's a pretty big number. I mean, and you can't really blame them for being not that optimistic about it. Just the fact that we thought by this time we would see numbers decline, that while a lot of the world has started to move on and is reopening and is doing a lot better, a lot of us still aren't. So it's not hard to see that they would be that non-optimistic about it. And, you know, you hope that it goes off, because then if it bumps into 2022, that'll mess up the Winter Olympics. And, I mean, we could always have two Olympics in 1 year, I guess.
Be very difficult to do that.
It would be
difficult for the IOC to be able to host. No, if they don't have the 2020 Olympics, next summer in 2021, that will be a missed Olympics, and that's happened before. It was World War that caused it before, and this has been a world war without any shots fired. That's for sure. We know the news here locally, and it's big and it's blockbuster, and we feared it for a while now, and certainly with the momentum that the cancellation of the lack of no fans allowed at the Memorial Tournament next week, Jack Nicklaus's tournament, and then yesterday the postponement of the Ryder Cup until next year. I wonder what the poll would be for in Wisconsin if they're really going to have the Ryder Cup next year. Wonder what that would look like. But the announcement today by the WGC FESJI that it will be fanless at TPC Southwind this year, it is a crushing blow. It is a crushing blow to all of us that love golf and hold that tournament so very close to us and have enjoyed it through the years. For me, it will be the first time I haven't gone to the golf tournament since '87. I missed in '85, '86, and '87 after first going for the first time in 1980. So those 3 years in this year will be the only time over the last 40 years that I've missed. But I will miss whether I'm allowed to go or not. I'm not going to. I doubt I will be able to, because it'll be very limited on who's allowed in. I can understand that, and I wouldn't want to put any pressure or take somebody else that maybe have a better reason, honestly, for being there than I do. You know, I have plenty of good reason to be there when we're doing shows and such out there, and then on the weekend watching it for this radio show. But I can watch it on the TV. But never mind me. I feel so bad for so many people connected with the tournament. Most especially, I feel bad for St. Jude, for the publicity that they get that week, for the money they derive from that tournament, how very hard all charities have been hit during this. But I am glad, Drew, that we do have a tournament that they will play. I don't know that if Tiger Woods will come or not. I doubt it. I doubt he's going to play 3 out of 4 weekends, with his announcement today that he will play next week in front of the no fans at the Memorial. So that would make him playing there, then missing the tournament in Blaine, Minnesota, and then if he played here and played in the PGA, that would be 3 out of 4. That probably wasn't likely with or without fans, but probably more unlikely now.
Yeah, it is, and it's sad. It's a sad day because just like you, I've been going to the golf tournament. I believe every year since the early 2000s. I haven't missed one, and I'm gonna be upset that I won't be out there. I'll completely understand if I don't make the media cut list because obviously, just like you, I can watch it on TV. I'd prefer to be out there, but I can. But it's not like I've got a story due at a deadline that I have to be out there, have to get quotes, and have to be right there on the front lines. But I think the way Daryl Smith kind of in his announcement today and through multiple interviews basically was saying that while it is sad that we won't have fans out there, this is still a good thing for the city of Memphis that we do have a World Golf Championship tournament, that we still can showcase how great of a city Memphis is once a year on a worldwide basis, and hopefully still be able to contribute as much as they have in the past to fundraising for St. Jude and putting that cause in front of people for a whole week.
Yeah, and, look, when we were getting news reports this week from residents at Southwind in the community and the development that live out there, that the stands were coming down, well, we knew what was happening, and I think there was some last-minute appeal, and largely I think it was mostly tour-directed, as I have gathered. The players just do not want to risk it at all. I can certainly understand that. And the local health officials, the tournament, the WGC people had been working hand in glove with local health officials and had set up all the different protocols for fans and about everything you can think of. But it really got down, Drew, I think, to just the real logistics of it, never mind what the tour players want. And that I say never mind, that's a big factor. But then you get down to something like a shuttle. And I'm not talking about a media shuttle. I'm talking about a fan shuttle that's transporting somebody from kind of one of the parking lots kind of down Hacks Cross out to let them out wherever, let out behind number 9T, I think a lot of times is one of the transportation spots. I've ridden it through the years. I know how the logistics flow out at the tournament, and they were talking about no more than 2 people on one of those minivans, in one of the minivans. Well, that's just not reasonable to do, and to try to be so very cautious as we are. It just really got to where it would have to be fanless, and then next year, hopefully next year, we can have a bigger and better and bawdier and best tournament ever next year. I hope that's the case.
I do as well, and you're exactly right. Just logistics wise, if having only 2 people plus the driver on those shuttles, it just doesn't work. I mean, you'd have to run a shuttle every 2 minutes to kind of somewhat accommodate people to actually get to the tournament, depending on which lot they're parking in. But when it comes down to it, we all saw the writing on the wall. If you didn't see it before the memorial decided that it was going to go fanless, you saw it here locally as we kind of take a step back and have bars closed, restaurants only staying open till 10 o'clock, kind of going to a phase 1.5. That when that happened, I kind of gave up all hope that we were going to be out at TPC Southwind, just because health-wise, it's not plausible.
And I love that tournament. I love the people with it. And Daryl Smith has been straight as a string with us. He told us what he knew at the time, and then when the decision was made today, I can only support him and wish him well. I know it was not the decision that they wanted to come to by any means, but you're right. When between the memorial and the phase 1.5, I mean, it was just too many steps being taken the wrong direction, and it just wasn't gathering that momentum, just like a lot of things are not gathering a lot of momentum. And one of those, it would be college football, with the Ivy League news yesterday and the breaking, I think, blockbuster news today that the Big Ten, the venerable Big Ten, will play conference-only games. Well, we touched on it yesterday. There's an impact there, near and far. The impact near is week 2 and a big chance for a Memphis Tigers team to go on the road in the Big Ten at Purdue, play Rondale Moore, who will be one of the most exciting players in the country, would have been last year had he not gotten hurt. Remember, Desmond Howard picked him preseason last year to win the Heisman Trophy. Desmond Howard knows a little something about winning a Heisman Trophy as he struck the pose, and now every front runner for the Heisman does that at some point down the stretch of the year. Desmond Howard picked him last year to win it. Well, there will be no matchup with Purdue. A lot of people wondering, Drew, about what will Notre Dame do as they're out there in independent status. Will they play the hybrid ACC? Will that be allowed? Will that be de facto for them joining a conference?
I think it will. I mean, right now, with the news from the Big Ten, Notre Dame only has one Big Ten opponent on their schedule with, I believe, a game against Wisconsin. Obviously, the Navy game still kind of up in the air, but when you basically play an all-ACC.
But Navy's in a conference.
Yeah, Navy is in a conference, so that one could be up in the air. But when you play basically an ACC type of schedule without being in a conference when all of your other sports are in the ACC, it just makes sense to go ahead and make the final push into a conference for football. Otherwise, Navy's going to be left out high and dry. You know, what are other independents going to do? I mean, teams like Liberty, New Mexico State, BYU, Army, I mean, they're going to be impacted. They might have to try to find a place to play college football this year in a conference, and you'd like to think that, hey, maybe that opens up a spot for BYU to kind of take that 12th spot in the American, but we're talking about going to conference play due to regionalizing games and to cut down on travel. And while in a normal year, BYU, we'd say, bring it on, come on, let's join the American, let's make this a true powerhouse college football conference. But it's just not logistically doesn't make sense this year, just due to the fact that BYU's all the way out there in Utah and ain't nobody close to them.
Yeah, and we didn't think about all these things when we started the conference realignment, the conference expansion. I'll go to the SEC. When the times are good and you can just spin, that would make drunken sailors blush, you know, being strung out from Columbia to Columbia, who cares? Well, now it matters. Now it matters not to have some regionality to it, not to be the Southeastern Conference. There was a reason for that once upon a time. Nobody could have seen this coming, and no, I don't think you would have inhibited conference expansion for that and that alone, but might need to be thought of next time when you start thinking about this one joining this conference and another one joining another one. It was all those years ago when I first heard on these airwaves the idea of Texas joining the then Pac-8. And George said at the time, that is a long way to go to go from Austin to Seattle to play baseball. And he said, heck, it's a long way to go to play football and on a Tuesday night to play basketball. So maybe we didn't think we shouldn't have thought about it. I'm not going to play that Monday morning quarterback blame game, but let's think about it next time.
Yeah.
Before we get spread out all over the place and you think there's never going to be a poor day. Urban Meyer today with a comment, a quote, a story that there's no way college football will be able to play in the spring. I agree with him. And I think Urban Meyer is a pretty bright guy that cares about the industry of football and college football. But it's not going to go off. So if we're going to have any kind of college football season this year, it will be a very localized conference only for everyone. The step the Big Ten today took, that's the end of any idea of Alabama versus USC or Auburn versus North Carolina or Florida and Florida State. How about that one? That one
Iowa State won't go off.
LSU, Texas, week 2 won't go off. The Big Ten games, Michigan at Washington, Ohio State at Oregon, that would have been an elimination game.
Oh, yeah, it would have.
Oregon, because we know what Auburn and Oregon was last year for Oregon and narrowly losing that on opening night. Penn State at Virginia Tech, another big one from the Big Ten. Miami at Michigan State. Notre Dame at Wisconsin, a big one. We mentioned the Tigers and Purdue. And how about this, Drew? So no fall sports for the Big Ten. That means no ACC Big Ten challenge come first week of December. It means no Big Ten teams in holiday tournaments from Maui to the Caribbean to all points in between. This is blockbuster.
Yeah, this is the Big Ten really got the domino stack rolling. They pushed over the first one, and everything's going to start to fall. And with the Big Ten, I mean, if you're Nebraska right now, I mean, you're really, if you haven't already kind of regretted the move to the Big Ten, and all your fans going, what am I doing here in West Lafayette? What am I doing in Ann Arbor? What am I doing all the way over here in New Jersey?
The Gophers.
Yeah, what are we doing here? Why aren't we playing our regional foes? Now, it definitely looks really silly because you could have been more centralized in your travels with college football and to the SEC. Missouri in the SEC East, how comfortable are they going to be feeling traveling all the way to Columbia, to Gainesville, to Lexington, to Knoxville on the other side of the conference? Maybe it's time that we just, at least for the year, try it out. If we want to keep, if we go conferences and we want to still keep divisions, let's put Missouri in the SEC West and let's take maybe an Auburn and put them over in the East to try to balance it out, at least that way it's more locally. And you're probably going to see a lot of these conferences when they do go to 10, obviously going to have to add a conference game or two, but probably redraft all conference games. Just going to have to scrap the schedule and try to make it as locally as possible.
Good point. I know right now people would be looking at, for the SEC, okay, they're going to go to 10 games. Well, we know the 8th they were going to play in the league. So what other two? I think that's up for grabs now. It may not even look like it did. And I've mentioned, I know a time or two in the run up to college football that I think the East is starting to gain on the West, and you could see it with more of those games having to be played against each other. Because here's the bad news for everybody in SEC West. Everybody can't play Vanderbilt.
No, you can't. You're going to have to play Georgia, Florida.
Somebody's got to play
Tennessee.
Georgia.
Yeah. You're going to have to play these teams.
And I just don't know if some of these coaches really signed up for it and signed up for – nobody signed up for this and how tough it's going to be. This hour every day brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity July sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models and special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in one of their beautiful cars as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. Lexus of Memphis, the highest standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day, no spectators in Memphis, Tennessee for the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational. And like I said before, this seemed to be exactly what was bound to happen with the way trends have been going, not only in the Mid-South, but on the PGA Tour. I'm not sure when we'll have fans or spectators at a PGA.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Ed.
At a PGA event. But on a good note, we do get Tiger back this week, so that's a positive.
That's right. We'll take our positives where we can get them, Drew, for sure. And I'm with you on the top story. And it is, sports-wise, of course, one of the saddest days for me to have to talk about this and the official announcement of fanless 2 years into it. We were so excited when we finally had the golf tournament elevated to superior status, and how well it went off last year, both fans and weather, and the Sunday play between Brooks and Rory and the star-studded event. But when the tour imposed this on Jack Nicklaus, you knew not even St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, could overcome this one. It was just too big to overcome. Maybe next year's tournament will be the biggest and best we've ever had. We plow through this year, try to make the best of a bad situation for one and all, and next year get out there and celebrate again. and don't anybody complain about the heat.
No, I promise you I will never complain about a late July heat. If that's what we've got to do to have it, then that's what we got to do.
Not top story of the day.
Well, staying in-state, not top story of the day, Nashville SC has become the second team after FC Dallas to be withdrawn from the MLS It's Back tournament due to the number of positive COVID-19 tests. Nashville's game was against Chicago Fire, originally scheduled on Tuesday, but was postponed due to the fact that 9 members of Nashville FC are SC. Yeah, I said it right. I thought SC tested positive for COVID-19. This means there's only 24 MLS clubs still in the bubble at Disney World in Orlando.
And, Drew, we're going to see that come to college sports. There's going to be some team afflicted if we have it. It could be a baseball team. When baseball starts, baseball going to be traveling around. They're not even going to be in the bubble that the MLS that they're trying, or the NBA. We're going to have more and more of these breaking stories. We're going to have teams that can't compete, and then when they can't, what do we do? If the New York Mets can't play over the course of a week or so, do they bring up replacement players? Do they have some type of team that just has the Mets uniform, or any team, Cardinals, Orioles? You can replace them. My example with any team you like. These doomsday scenarios, we see them playing out. It's not conspiratorial. It's not doomsday talk. It's called Realville. My not top story, we've covered a lot of them, but this one is big. ACC announces no fall sports before September 1st. The long runway that we once enjoyed in college and pro football, well, it's getting a lot shorter. And if you're trying to buy tickets or enroll students in school, you have to be very careful right now, because I have zero evidence of this, but I hope that none of this is the biggest bait and switch of all time. Get people signed up for school, get people signed up for football tickets, and then you don't have really either. And under the specter of these big endowments, these bloated payrolls, we're seeing it's almost criminal what's been done in big education. What they have charged people, the price spikes through the years, and now it's basically all online chat room self-help classes. That's a shame, but that's where we are, and I think those tuition are going to have to come down, or maybe we'll have to go into some of these endowments, Drew. Break that seal on them. I read every story last night I read every story that you can't legally. They're set up only to go to thus and so, and you can't. A lot of these big university endowments, you know what they are? They're a fancy hedge fund with the university as the front.
Yeah, and that's a shame, because they trot them around as if they're actually going to help and impact the well-being of students and everybody on campus at these universities. And you're exactly right. Tuition has to come down. I mean, the fact that my education costs 10, 15, 20 times more than my father's did from the same university 40 years ago is a crying shame. Like,
there's almost no spike. There's almost nothing in society that's had the rise in cost like higher ed. And look, I believe in it. I think it matters, but I think we've got to get back to a little more centered on the pricing structure for higher ed. We've got a very busy show from ABC 24. Clayton Collier. I didn't mean to call out you New York Mets, Clayton Collier. He will join us after this first break. And then Keith Smith from NBA Yahoo will join us. He's down in Orlando. At 4:30, Tim Doolin to talk baseball. At 5, Jason Munns. He's covered about 5 or 6 things literally right now for the commercial appeal. We'll talk Tigers with him. We'll talk the high school showcase with him. We'll talk the golf tournament with him. And at 5:30, all 3 of us will have our top 10 NBA teams in the Orlando bubble. We'll wrap it up at 5:50 or so with Taco Bell crunch time on this Thursday afternoon. But up next from ABC 24, Clayton Collier on Sportstime.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Start your day at Sunrise Memphis. Located in Midtown, enjoy delicious biscuit sandwiches and all their menu has to offer with quick and easy to-go and delivery options. Whether it's breakfast, brunch, or lunch, don't distance yourself from great food. For more information on Sunrise Memphis, visit sunrise901.com or call 901-552-3144 to place your order. Stay healthy and eat Sunrise Memphis today.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Drew Barrett with me today. We are Sports Time, and he is in the Family Leisure Studio. As always, Drew.
Yeah, that's right. I am here in the Family Leisure Studio where family and fun come together. Save now on your 2021 swimming pools by buying at 2020 prices and save your spot for first installment of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms are in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table, pool toys, and floats up to 30% off. That's Family Leisure, 2120 Winton Road, just north of I-40.
We are glad to have with us Clayton Collier from ABC 24. You can follow him at Local Memphis and also at Local 24 Clayton. Clayton, I didn't take a shot at the New York Mets. I just used them as an example a few minutes ago. It's a crazy sports year, and we're getting closer to your Mets being back to playing. I think they will play. I hope they will play in about 2 weeks from tomorrow for the Mets. Good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Yeah, hopefully we can get baseball back and going. We're looks like fans are increasingly becoming not an option, but as long as we can get the games on, I think that'll help for a lot of people's sanity.
Yeah, Will, Clayton, before I get to my first question, I do want to congratulate you on your engagement earlier this month. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much. My luckily she said yes, so that was a good thing.
Yeah, it's always better when they say yes.
It is always better. And Clayton, I texted you the congratulations as well, and it's a real love story that started with sports.
It did. My girlfriend, well, my fiance now, and I got to get used to met at a high school field in North Dakota. That was my first job out of college, and she was studying to become an athletic trainer, so we met at a high school game. And I knew I wanted to propose back out there for a few years now. So we had intended to fly out there for a wedding. And then Delta didn't tell us that the first week of June, they canceled our flight and never informed us. We only found out the afternoon beforehand when I had her entire family and, part of my family all out there, my immediate family. The idea was to have them all hiding in the press box. And so we essentially got in the car and drove and 18 hours up to North Dakota, and we were on about 2 hours sleep, but I still made sure it happened. I had my old sports director in Bismarck on the PA system. So after I proposed, she got shocked when somebody was up on the voice of God saying that we weren't the only ones here. And then another 10, 15 people of her family and my family all ran out of the press box and surprised her. So
outstanding, outstanding, Clayton.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Now, there's what?
Oh, I was going to. There isn't a lot of high points for 2020 so far, but that definitely is number one. So.
That is a big one. And anybody that falls in love in Bismarck with those winners you had, those pictures you've shown me, my goodness, that is real love. It'll last forever. Clayton Collier, our guest from ABC 24. And Clayton, we were texting and visiting some earlier today and talked earlier today. The news at the golf tournament, I don't think it shocks anybody, but it still stings.
It does. It's, through the conversations I'd had leading up to, this announcement this week from some people, it started to sound like it was headed that way. And they had sent out just some stuff on, credentials for media, and it had some vague terminology earlier this week too. So it was really only adding to the idea that, this might go on without any fans. And, sure enough, that's what's going on. But, at the end of the day, and I spoke to Daryl Smith today for a story that'll be on tonight on Local 24. He said, hey, it's disappointing. And, there's not, obviously, as the head of this, show, Daryl Smith has put his heart and soul into trying to make sure this will happen as, efficiently and, paramount as safe as possible. And, I'm sure he's devastated that they won't be able to have fans this year as much as anybody is. But he was also pointing to the fact that, hey, there's not a lot of sports going on right now, and we're about to have a major one nonetheless in Memphis, Tennessee, that's going to be, broadcast around the world. So there is still a silver lining, and I know we're very much in the business of trying to find silver linings this year, and there's certainly still some to be had with, World Golf Championship still going on in the city of Memphis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Clayton, with this being the first World Golf Champion event of the restart, or even a major, obviously these type of tournaments get a lot of international media. Do you know if they really have a plan of how they're going to deal with international media from other countries yet?
I haven't heard about that. I know that there's going to be definite restrictions if, depending on what's allowed. I haven't been told everything yet in terms of what we'll expect. I imagine that's going to kind of come out in the next week or two, since we are now moving forward with a little more idea of what this event will be like. But I know that there'll be all types of, the usual restrictions we've been seeing over the last few months. So specifically to your question about international media members, I haven't heard, but I know that no matter what, we're going to be looking at something much different than what we were used to seeing.
And Clayton, something we all come to count on here in our area during football season is you out somewhere on a Friday night high school football season. It starts out in the furnace of August, like that hot games we enjoyed together down at Whitehaven 2 years ago, and it ends in very cold games for you. But now the high school football season sounds like, in high school sports, to have school very much in jeopardy. Your thoughts on the idea of no high school football season in this area, or limited?
We might be watching a lot of high school volleyball this year, because high school volleyball is non-contact, and that doesn't qualify necessarily for the Governor Lee's state of emergency declaration that is currently holding off high school football. But I think the TSSAA's non-decision yesterday was actually a good thing towards trying to get high school football back this year, because they didn't make a decision that they can't necessarily, right now, the schools that are allowed to participate right now, which are basically everybody in the area except for Shelby County public school system football teams. So, the outer suburban schools and the private schools are still going right now, but they're only doing non-contact conditioning drills. So the aspect from SSAA yesterday is a good thing towards potentially trying to get contact practice going. I believe that, the association is going to try to get that approval so that in the event they're good to go for games, that they'll have already actually had contact practices.
Mm-hmm. And you brought it up with the private schools. I know the school that I went to, RCA, we've been in TSSAA, then down in MPSA, and now apparently independent. For some of the private independent schools, or even the schools down in Olive Branch, how much difference are they going to look? How different are they going to look to the Shelby County schools as far as sports go?
Well, I know that it's difficult for Shelby County because not even south of the border, but you look at Houston and Collierville are starting back up this week because the dead period's over. So you have guys that are directly in your region. In some cases that are, going when you might not be. So, for a school like Whitehaven or, some of the other public schools around here, that might be a disadvantage to some other schools that are deciding to go. There's, out in some of the, suburban areas rather than in the city limits of Shelby County schools.
And for Tiger football, Clayton, if the AAC would take the Big Ten stance and go to conference only, that feels like a lot will. Although Bob Bowlesby, when asked about it today, simple one-word answer reply, would the Big 12 go only conference? His answer was no. So we'll see. But if the AAC had to, no Arkansas State, the local flavor game to open the season. Week 2, no road trip to Purdue. If they go conference only, that will really impact the AAC and the Tigers particularly on trying to be like they were last year and get into those premier bowls, to get in to be that group of 5 team to get into the preferred bowl games.
Well, it's starting. The script is starting to look familiar from March, although the timeline happened a lot faster in that second week of March, where the Ivy League canceled. And then everybody else kind of tried to start with no fans, sliding back from there. And I hate to say it, but it feels a little bit more of that same domino effect starting. It's just much slower moving right now since we have them. It's not mid-season necessarily. I think that they're going to give it every shot they can to have football in the fall. But if not, we might be seeing quite a bit of spring football because it's hard to imagine that there won't be some sort of interruption. Granted, nobody really knows exactly. But, with the way it's trajecting, going conference only might not, necessarily be enough, although I understand that, no matter what happens, they're, understandably are going to give it every attempt. But I really think that the pro leagues here are going to be what's going to be the indicator, the same way it was with Rudy Gobert, because that same morning that Rudy Gobert tested positive, everybody decided no fans and they would play on in their conference tournaments for basketball. And then immediately once Rudy Gobert tested positive and the NBA stopped, then the immediate domino effect starts down from college and down to high school. So, if there's no justification for the pros to be playing, it immediately takes it away for the college and the high school ranks right after that. So look for, hopefully the NBA will have a successful bubble that baseball can start again, and one way or the other the NFL can go, because if those aren't, then nobody else is. I personally don't think.
Yeah, I know personally I want as many sports and all of them to start on time and to have fans, but kind of switching from the biggest story of 2020 to probably the second biggest story and staying with the Tigers. Why do you think there has been backlash from people over the Black Lives Matter sticker that Ryan Silverfield announced will be on every helmet this year?
I think that's fairly obvious. But there's.
Well, were you surprised by how much? Because I feel like here in Memphis, I think we, not to kind of be on a high horse, but I feel like we handle race relations a lot better than other cities, just due to the fact that when you live in Memphis, you're connected and intertwined with everybody. You can't go anywhere without running into somebody of a different race. You can't go to work. You can't do anything. And I've always just felt that we as a city kind of handle that a little bit better than other places. So I was personally shocked. Were you?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily shocked because, yes, Shelby County is a blue dot in a, red sea of Tennessee, politically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's people, like you said, of all different walks of life, and there are people that don't have a problem with that, and then there's people who do. And, I think just in general, you're just, for Coach Silverfield to do that was obviously, a tremendous step for, Memphis to show solidarity in what they're doing this year. And, I think that they basically cut their, decided that there would probably be some collateral damage there, and they felt that it was worth it. So, I think they probably read the room on where the majority of their fan bases were, or at least, the ones that they, care more about kind of where they feel. And, maybe even at the end of the day, it's just more about what they feel is right with their team, and kind of, whoever likes it, whoever doesn't.
Clayton, do you think the Major League Baseball schedule will start 2 weeks from tonight, opening night, 2 weeks from tonight, everybody, 14 games on that Friday? Do you think we give it a start?
I've been going over with, I am the commissioner of my fantasy baseball league since high school with my high school buddies, and we have been talking about the same thing: is how do we do our fantasy draft that's scheduled still for 2 weeks that we've been delaying every 10 days since March. And I don't know an answer, because what if you draft somebody who tests positive? It's on that end of it. But with actual baseball, I think they'll push forward right now, and unless there's major outbreaks that persist. Baseball's had better numbers testing wise than the NBA has in terms of percentages. So I suppose we'll see. It's the more risky approach compared to what the NBA is doing, trying the bubble environment. They're really two different methods that we're going to be seeing employed in different varieties. I think baseball will be just as, if not, more important to see it succeed, because at the college level, a bubble environment isn't an entirely feasible option, and one that really isn't being considered for college football or, from what I understand, college basketball yet. So, if teams can travel regionally and play, and, that's another major question. And these two leagues are basically kind of being on the forefront of that.
And the 2021 schedule out for all the Major League Baseball teams today, and I've already taken a peek at a couple of spots for 2021. I hope we get to 2021 and we have it. Clayton, we look forward to having you back, I hope on a more optimistic day. But the best story of the day is your engagement. Again, congratulations. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And somehow it survived the 18-hour car ride back to Memphis as well through the middle of the night. So that was
a big first
right
test.
There. Yeah, exactly.
That's
we had
right.
to get the ring resized, but it's okay. She'll be fine with it later. So
she will be. Thank you, Clayton. Yep. Take care. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
You got it. Clayton Collier from ABC 24, and that was a long ride up and a long back.
Very
but it was
long.
worth it for him. Have you checked out the O's 2021 schedule yet? Have you circled any games?
Well, actually, I haven't been able to really circle any games just due to the fact that I hate the schedule in general. It's the exact, and I'm going to get to this way later on. It's part of my could have done without today. The fact that it's basically the exact same as the 60-game schedule we have this year. Orioles opening day, April 1st in Boston. Again. Orioles interleague play against NL East again. I mean, what was so hard keeping it with the Central? Oh, and I know I get the Braves are in the NL East, but guess what? They only play one series, and it's in Baltimore. So the closest I have trip to see my O's this year, I've either got to go back to Dallas, which I wouldn't mind seeing that new ballpark, or I've got to go to Houston. Why can't I get my O's at Cards again?
No, because they're going back to the schedule
I don't like
with the interleague, and next year for the National League Central and the American League Central will be opponents. I've got June 7th and 8th circled for 2021 when Cleveland comes to St. Louis. I've seen Cleveland in St. Louis, but I haven't seen a win against Cleveland, and I want to mark that off. That's the only one I have circled for next year. That's the only thing I want to do, and I hope I get to next June. As they always say, you want to make the Almighty laugh, make plans. He's really laughing these days with the plans we're making. We come back. We plan on finishing hour number 1. We'll see. Stay with us. How about that for a tease? You're listening to Sports Time.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
Family Leisure's here to make staying at home more enjoyable for you and your family this summer. Complete pool packages starting at $15.99. 24-foot pools only $19.99. 4-person spas starting at $19.99. Swim spas starting at under $10,000. We are offering contactless purchasing, deliveries, and curbside pickup. Give us a call to schedule an appointment or to place an order. Stay safe with Family Leisure.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Gateway Tire and Service Center has a beautiful new state-of-the-art location at 5275 Summer Avenue. And for July, the new location on Summer has a great special. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th at no charge. Visit the new Gateway Tire and Service Center with 28 bays for quick service, super safe curbside service, or lounge seating 6 feet apart. Check out GatewayTireandService.com for coupons too. The new Gateway Tire and Service Center, 5275 Summer Avenue. Call Matt for details, 901-683-8335.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you, Carl. Drew, I don't know if you're familiar with the site or the college basketball media personality, Chris Daubertine. His site is Blogging the Bracket, but it is a great site for at one place a compilation of all the preseason college basketball tournaments and some of the bigger non-conference games, and it's a great resource. We haven't ever had him on. I think he has obligations at this time of day because he's friends with TJ, and I reached out to him one time. Anyway, I went to it because I wanted to look at how impactful just this Big Ten news would be. Well, let's start with the first tournament of the year as listed at Blogging the Bracket, the Myrtle Beach Invitational from Big Ten. They have Nebraska. They're looking for a team. The Charleston Classic, they have from the Big Ten, Penn State. The 2K Empire Classic benefiting Wounded Warrior Project presented by Continental Tire.
That's a name.
Ooh, let's get a longer title. Michigan is in that. The Paradise Jam. From the Big Ten, they have nobody. The Jamaica Classic, nobody. The Junkanoo Jam, how about that?
Never heard
nobody
of the
from the Big
Junkanoo
Ten.
Jam.
Can't wait to go to that. Bring me a T-shirt back. The MGM Resorts main event. Arkansas is in that from the Big Ten. They don't have a team. Air Force Reserve Hall of Fame tip-off presented by City. Minnesota from the Big Ten in that tournament. And some on-campus games involving Big Ten teams. Other Cayman Islands Classic they have from the Big Ten. Ole Miss is in that tournament. Mm-hmm. They don't have anybody from the Big Ten. So right now that wouldn't be impacted. Here's one. How about Maui, Indiana from the Big Ten? And you know they'd take as many people as they could get tickets for. So all Wisconsin in the Fort Myers tip-off, they won't be involved. And that's before other conferences make announcements. Long way to get to this. None of these tournaments are happening, including the one the Tigers are scheduled for.
No, I don't think they will, just due to the fact that if you think that this decision by the Big Ten is only going to affect football, you're crazy, because if we're afraid that traveling in October or November to a long-distance area, I know that's normally all conference games, but you do sprinkle some non-conference in there as well. If you're afraid that for football to travel that far and to be exposed, then you're not sending your basketball team to Maui or down to Boca Raton or up to New York or where the Tigers are in the Atlantis Classic. It's just not going to happen, and I'm really scared to see how this really affects college basketball, just due to the fact that you do play a lot of non-conference games. You play non-conference for a whole 2 months of your season.
And while I am fully aware that Twitter and social media and our text line and even our give and take with callers, and when I listen to other shows and hear callers on our show, I know that's not representative ever of everyone. No. I know that. I'm fully aware of that. But I'm up front saying anecdotally, not pervasive, but I have caught a thread out there. And I would only think, if you're listening to us, if you're interacting with us, and we appreciate you, that you're a sports fan. But I go back, Drew, I don't know if it stood out to you, but yes, I was shocked. And yes, I was saddened on that Friday, March 13th, Friday the 13th, when the news broke that quickly about no Masters. And we had a texter, why do you sound so sad, Brett? It's just a golf tournament. Now, look, I know the blowback against the Masters. I know everybody's not a Masters fan like I am. I know everybody's not a golf fan like I am. I fully understand that, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. But I said that day, we will eventually get to something that it upsets you, that you will find sad about it. Have we gotten to it yet?
We have to. I can't really see what sport person X is out there hoping that it doesn't affect, because it has affected every sport and every person. And I love the Masters personally. I mean, there's nothing better than Jim Nantz, hello okay. friends. I mean, that's just
but that's okay. I mean, everybody's not as big a baseball fan as I am.
Everybody
that's
likes
fine.
their own soup.
But so far, it really hadn't touched the NFL yet. It has now touched college football. If you're a Tiger fan and you were making some plans to go to Purdue week 2, those plans are scuttled. That same weekend, Arkansas fans were planning to go to Notre Dame no matter how bad it was going to be. They wanted to go to Notre Dame. So unless that person or that thread of people are only NFL fans, and that's it, and that's fine if you are, if it hadn't gotten to you yet, it's coming to you.
I mean, you're
gonna have your day. You're gonna have your day when you're hurtful.
And if you're not concerned that it's going to hit, just in the news of as I will say, as TJ has said, they're just reports. They have not been confirmed by the NFL. But just the wide reporting about the preseason, if that doesn't scare you on the NFL front, I don't know what will. If my Ravens coming out saying that they're only going to have 14,000 fans in there, and that's kind of the mark that they're hoping for. I mean, that's not a minimum. That's what they're aiming for, to try to get that. If that doesn't scare you, I don't really know what will, because it's affected everything in this world of sports that we know and love.
And if that thread, a person say you're just a Grizzlies fan, when the Grizzlies are fanless next year, then I imagine it will hit. When Tiger basketball, if it even played next year, if it's fanless, or Tiger football this fall, it's fanless. Whatever flavor of sport you are, and I know, sadly, and I never like to contribute to it, but I know there's the class warfare factor out there. I know there's some, I don't care what happens, if it takes down big bad Bama and SEC, let it happen. Do you not think that if Alabama and USC and Ohio State and Notre Dame, they may be crippled, they may be brought to their knees, what do you think UTEP and Colorado State and Tulane's going to look like?
I mean,
out of this?
It's a death sentence for them. I mean, the pandemic and financial troubles that it's caused, it doesn't cherry pick who it affects. It doesn't say, all right, we're going to affect Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, OU, USC, but we're going to leave alone the Memphis, Arkansas State. We're going to leave alone Tulane.
Just like it knows no borders.
East Carolina. Like, it's going to affect every single program. So if that's the high horse you want to ride on, that good, it's messing with Alabama. Well, guess what? It's messing with you too.
Or if it's boring old baseball or boring old golf or stodgy SEC, I would beg you, back away from playing the class warfare game, because it's getting ready to rim wreck us all, unless you just want mayhem and something like that. And if you do, I don't think I want to know you very much.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that think that way, though.
That is really sad. That is pervertingly sad. That is really sad. Keith Smith will join us from Yahoo Sports. We will talk the NBA bubble. He's in Orlando. He's not in the bubble, but he's right outside it. He's coming up next to start hour number 2.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Fiveash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
There's a new commissary in town. In Collierville, Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BICEP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BICEP to 42424. That's BICEP to 42424.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Hour number 2 starts on this very busy Thursday, July 9th, 2020. We're with you until 6 o'clock. We'd like for you to be a part of it by calling the First Bank phone line, 360-8255, or texting at the First Bank text line, 67129. Carl Morris producing, Drew Barrett co-hosting with me. Dave will be back with us on Monday, and we are glad to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. We are glad we are 3 weeks out from the resumption of the NBA season. It hadn't been easy to get to this point. This next 3 weeks could really be a lot of stories and a lot of ups and downs in it, and we've had to brace ourselves all year for this roller coaster we've been on, and we love talking about the NBA with Keith Smith. He is on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA from Yahoo Sports. Real GM was with the Celtics blog, the front office show, and we love having him join us, and he is with us now. He is not in the bubble in Orlando, but he's closer to it than anybody in Memphis. You can see the bubble from where you are, can't you, Keith?
Just about. If the ground was a little bit flatter and there wasn't so many trees and houses, I probably could.
Any alligators in the Orlando area?
Oh, yeah, plenty of them. We learn real quick here in this area that if it's bigger than a puddle, it probably has safe to assume there's an alligator in it. Just stay away.
That would be a good practice to follow, Keith. This next 3 weeks will not be easy. There will be, and I sense it from your content. I sense it from your Twitter. I sense it in texting with you. Every day, the roller coaster we're on, I feel like 1 second they're going to pull the plug, and then the very next second it will go off without any trouble. And somewhere in between is what the next 3 weeks will feel like.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Clearly, we're going to get this thing started enrolling. The last teams are arriving here in Central Florida today to go on campus. Every team that comes in does a 48-hour quarantine. Teams that arrived a couple days ago, they started practice today. The Orlando Magic were the first to arrive with clearly the shortest trip of all, and they were the first team at the practice court a little bit ago in the morning, late morning hours. So this thing's going to get off and running. The question is, can we get it finished? That's going to be the question on everybody's mind. Now, MLS is giving folks, the Major League Soccer here is giving some hopes to the NBA because they were able to isolate 2 teams that they have now. The reporting is those 2 teams weren't really doing what they were supposed to be doing, and they were both withdrawn and removed from the campus by MLS, and they're no longer going to be a part of their tournament that they've got going on. So that gives you a little bit of hope that things are, going pretty well inside the bubble as long as you follow the rules and stick to the protocols.
Keith, on that topic, do you think that that's what the NBA might have to do if a team doesn't follow the protocol and we have a spike like Nashville SC had where they had 9 players test positive after entering the bubble? Will the NBA possibly have to tell a team, you're out, go home?
Let me put it this way. I think that possibility exists. I don't think we'll get there. I think the NBA guys are they've been made very clear to them for weeks and weeks and weeks leading up to this just how much money is at stake. So I don't think for that reason, even if that's the only reason, I don't think we're going to see anybody, pull shenanigans. I think they're going to stick to these protocols and do what they got to do to get this season off and running and finished.
And Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers, they hit town, and he did it in quite some style, the flair that he can do it. I love him. I love him. And when healthy, I know it hadn't been a lot of when healthy, but when healthy and in shape, that's the really rare combo for him. When healthy and when in shape, I think he is just one of the dominant players in the game. He showed up in full hazmat suit today. That was a big old hazmat suit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know where you get a 7-foot, almost 300-pound man, a hazmat suit. I did have somebody say, well, if you looked, it was riding a little tight up the inseam. So, maybe it wasn't quite made for him. But, and I had somebody else tell me, well, if you've ever had to wear one of those, they're just big on everybody else. But, I think, Joel Embiid, he's great for the game because he's so much fun. He, clearly has a good time. He likes to, have the laugh out there and those things. He's in fantastic shape, which is really great for him and the 76ers. And I think Philadelphia, they have a chance to make a little bit of noise. The question is, can they play well away from home? Because they have the NBA's best home record at 29-2, but on the road, I believe they were 10-26 or 24 or something in that range. So they were really, an up and down team, and Embiid was included in that. He's a monster in home games, what you expect, but in road games, he really turns into a poor jump shooting big man. He only shoots 43% from the field in road games this year. So that's something that's really going to have to get reconciled if Philly's going to make some noise.
Oh, Keith, I love an actual basketball take there, and hopefully as we get closer to the bubble and to the restart, we'll have more of that. But you're right. Everybody's going to be on the road. So it will be some real acclimations to rims, to arenas, to lighting, to the process of moving around inside the bubble, to the testing protocols. It will really be a work in progress when they get there, and I think veteran coaches, veteran teams probably will handle it better, and that's the opposite of really what we have in a fun young team, and a young coach and a young team with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, and I think that's why Memphis brought back a guy like Anthony Tolliver, who had been with them on a 10-day. He's a guy who's been around the league a long time. He's someone that you can, really trust to tell the younger guys on the roster, hey, let's get in line. Let's make sure we're doing these things. Get our rest. Make sure we're listening to the coaches. Be where you're supposed to be. Get your tests done. Those kind of things. I think the presence of someone like him on the roster can't be understated because it's a team that clearly, wasn't, super deep and didn't have a ton of, experienced veterans there. And then I think another guy for the Grizzlies that'll help is Kyle Anderson, who's been through, playoff runs in the early years of his career with the San Antonio Spurs, Jonas Valanciunas as well, because of his runs with the Raptors. So I think they've got just enough guys who can tell the young guys and kind of say, hey, we're here for a reason. Let's keep our heads screwed on tight. But I don't know if it's going to be that big of an issue because I think the Grizzlies players are, they might be young, but they're real hungry to prove themselves. So I don't think they're going to step out of line.
Mm-hmm. Well, Keith, I kind of feel, and feel free to tell me that what I'm about to say has no merit and that I'm absolutely crazy. It will not hurt my feelings. But when I look at the bubble and the way these games are going to be played, I kind of feel that younger guys will be able to adjust better to it due to the fact that they grew up playing AAU basketball, and this kind of fits an AAU tournament where they're playing more midday games, where they're having to just stay at hotels like they always did when they were on the road. That they have been they're more used to it than the latent veteran guys who have been playing at 7 p.m. Whatever time zone they're in that day, and have been in the most lavish hotels for the last 10 years. Do you think that my train of thought has any merit for younger guys being able to adjust better?
Yeah, there is folks in the league who share that sentiment, who believe the young players they're going to adapt to it a lot quicker for the reasons you laid out. There's also just the belief of they're going to be able to hit the ground running. They'll have their legs under them. They don't take it takes a little time to prime the machine for some of these other guys, and those young guys might be able to just get and go. So I think that's going to be, something to watch. Now, on the flip side, when I had a conversation with a couple coaches a while back, it was, the young guys, they're going to be the ones who are going to be, those teams are going to be ready. Then talking with a different coach just a few hours later, he goes, I'm worried about those young teams. They're the ones who rely on the crowd to lift them. They're the ones who, you really, you don't want to have them away from home and routine and those kind of things. So I think it all comes into play of none of us just really know what to expect in this. And, you're best to just go in with, fairly low expectations and hopefully be pleasantly surprised in the end.
I think we've asked you about this, but I want to ask again and get a little more a clarification about the presence of the commissioner's office, of the league office in Orlando. Will they set up an outpost? Will they set up Park Avenue South? And will Adam Silver personally be at a lot of the games, if for no other reason, Keith, the optics of being there arm in arm with his players, with his league, both for the on court not protest, but the stand that they're going to take, but also to show, look, I'm not hiding in an office in Manhattan. I'm down here with the guys.
Yeah, there's two parts to that answer. One is the NBA has had for approximately about 3 or 4 weeks now, they've had a presence on the Walt Disney World property. They were a big part of getting everything set up and ready to go, working with Disney to make sure everything was set up for what the NBA needs. Now, they are also going to stay. There's a big contingent from the league on all fronts, PR fronts, operations people, all sorts of folks are going to be there for the duration. Yeah, medical is being a little more provided by the team. Yeah, there's definitely legal folks there as well. As for Adam Silver, he said he will be there a lot, but he is not staying for the entire duration. He is going to come and go, and he'll follow all the protocols when he does so. But his belief was, and if you really think about it, the NBA, while our focus is on the 22 teams that are in Florida finishing out their season, the NBA has a very large international component, and there's still 8 other teams scattered around the country that Adam Silver is responsible for. So he said, I believe that there are times I'm going to need to be in New York to do what I need to be. I may need to be elsewhere in the world doing what I need to be to take care of the NBA interest as the commissioner. I don't think, a lot of people know the NBA has a huge presence clearly in China. We know that. But they also have offices in Africa. They have offices in India. They have offices in South America. And part of what those groups are doing is trying to grow the game of basketball all across the world. And there are, folks there. So Adam Silver's, guys is, his eyes need to be more than just on what's happening in Florida as it is at all times.
Mm-hmm. And to the actual play on the court that we're going to hopefully see starting July 31st, with the top tier teams, your Lakers, your Clippers, Milwaukee, and Toronto, with only an 8 game separating them from the playoffs, they pretty much have got their playoff spots locked up, and really no need to worry about what type of seeding they're going to have. How hard are they actually going to play? I mean, LeBron James, he's not going to be playing 40-plus minutes every 8 games, right?
No, it's going to look a lot like it would have looked in those couple of weeks in April leading up to the playoffs. If had the season gone off as planned, it would have been, that's when those teams would have ramped things down.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So what they would do is they're going to get those guys out there. They're going to play them enough to knock the rust off and hopefully get them in rhythm. The one exception to that, I would say, is potentially the Clippers, because the Clippers have a couple things. One, their distance in the standings isn't quite as far. It's still pretty tight between them and the Nuggets, and then there's a couple teams who could catch them. The Clippers also, they have not had a single game where they have had their main guys, their top 9, 10 players that are expected to be in their rotation, where they have had all 10 of those guys play together this season because of the aggressive load management for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, injuries, and then the fact that they acquired Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson shortly before the season was shut down. So they are going to be really looking to Doc Rivers and his staff to figure out some continuity, figure out what lineups work together kind of on the fly. So I think for them, these 8 games may be more important than they are for just about any other team that's hoping to be in reasonable title contention.
Our guest is Keith Smith from Yahoo. He is on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA, and he is in Orlando, where he is based, where the NBA and the whole world will be watching. Keith, what is the team, maybe not even veteran team, just a team that will be in Orlando? They get off to a tough start. They toss the towel. And on the flip side of that, a team, maybe the Memphis Grizzlies, get off to the hot start, gain some momentum, try to make some noise. Kind of the doomsday team and the sunshine team.
Yeah, the doomsday teams are those teams like Washington, Phoenix, San Antonio, who have very little chance of getting into the playoffs. They lose their first couple. They're just going to call it a season and really look at developing just some of the younger guys and get them some game experience down the stretch. And again, not uncommon for what would be the last couple weeks of a regular season. The teams that I think can really take advantage, I think, Memphis, this is big for them. New Orleans. I know there's kind of a budding rivalry there between those two, which is pretty cool and I think is great for the league. And then I think on the one team that keeps kind of sticking to me that if the matchups really fall right, I think they could make some noise is the Dallas Mavericks. They are, they've got two really good players in Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, and then all the rest of the guys are going to play for them just fit in around those guys so well. If Tim Hardaway Jr. can knock down shots at a 40% clip from behind the arc, as he did in this regular season, the Mavericks are going to be a tough out. They just need to really do everything they can to avoid having to play the Clippers in the first round, because that's just a nightmare matchup for them. But if they get anybody else, they're a team I think that could really make some noise unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm. And staying in that bottom tier of the West of teams that will be in Orlando, obviously besides the Grizzlies and the Pelicans, the Trailblazers will also be there. Obviously Dame Lillard, they do have a very good team. Out of those three, which do you think has the best chance at actually shocking the Lakers in the first round?
None of the above.
None. Okay.
I think the Pelicans and Grizzlies are too young to pull that off now. Good veteran teams don't beat a LeBron James led team in the first round. Never mind, young and up and coming teams. I don't think Portland, as much as I love Damian Lillard, they're so banged up on the wings, and they're not going to have Trevor Ariza. They just don't have the forward depth to try and control LeBron in any way. And, LeBron's that guy, you never can really stop him. The best you can do is hopefully slow him down and really make him work hard. But they don't even have anybody that can even attempt to do that. So I think the Lakers, almost no matter who they draw in the first round, they're going to get through that, with relative ease. I think if you're Memphis or New Orleans, what you're hoping for is get that first, taste the playoff experience. Even though it's not going on the road and those kind of things, you still get that experience of playing a team 4 times, 5 times in a week and a half long period. And maybe you can get a win and use that as your springboard into next season.
Keith, I want to ask you again. You've referenced this dollar amount before with us, but I want to clarify it. If it goes exceedingly well and the losses are just stemmed and the TV ratings and the money, it's pretty good, what's the minimum the league expects to lose out of this season because of the pandemic?
If they can finish these playoffs and everything goes well, about $2 billion is roughly what's already going to have been lost because of no games in arenas and those kind of things. There's also some TV stuff that's going on. We know the other 8 teams aren't coming in, so they're not going to deliver on their regional TV contracts. There's also, the way things are, some other ancillary things that, get it really deep into the weeds, but the league, stands to lose about $2 billion. And that's why doing this and stemming a further loss of another $2 billion is so important to the NBA.
Unreal, the money and the figures thrown out. And we love having you with us and talking about it, Keith. I hope we can catch up in the weeks ahead heading into the bubble. We appreciate your time today. Stay strong, stay fit, and watch the Gators.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, we'll keep our eye on that water and make sure we're good.
You got it. Thank you, Keith Smith. We appreciate it. Keith Smith with us from Yahoo Sports talking NBA, and it's just terrific to have him. If it all goes well, you only lose $2 billion. Drew, I love it when people want to almost say that whether it's the college football world, maybe that's an exception because it is college players. Let's just go to the raw pro side of it. Well, they're just doing it for the money. Well, yeah, they're trying to survive.
It's called a job.
Sometimes it is about the money. It's very important. And I love when people want to kind of cop the attitude that nobody else can do anything in the name of the money, but it's okay for me to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, while I love coming on here and talking to you and doing my job every day.
We love having you, Drew.
I love doing it, but
Thank you, Drew.
I also like that it helps keep the lights on.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, you do.
I don't think I'd be doing it for very long if it was free and just for the love of sports talk radio. But I've never understood that point where people are like, they're just doing it for the money. Well, yeah, it's called a job. It's called a career.
You do stuff for the money.
I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, most everybody on earth does something every day for the money until I can get the places that I owe for things I'm using, like lights, gas, water, American Express, and other things, until I can get them to accept something other than that for their payment and me to have it the next month, then yeah, I'm going to do things for the money. I'm not going to try to be craven. I'm not going to try to push anybody over to get to the next nickel. I never have. I never will. I wouldn't be in radio if I was that driven by that. I'm in radio because I love sports, but also money matters. And to the NBA, it matters. If it goes off well, they only drop $2 billion.
And that's just crazy. I mean, when you say $2 billion, you're like, that's not even a real number. When it comes to, for normal people, I guess, to even imagine having $2 billion in a bank account somewhere, it's just mind blowing. But I don't think that $2 billion is all that's going to be lost. I think ultimately there's going to be more losses because while Keith felt more optimistic about what's going on in MLS and how they've handled it, I kind of look at it as the other way. I look at it as doomsday that's going on there in the exact same city, in the exact same bubble there at ESPN and Disney World, that if it's happening to them already, who's to say that it's not going to affect teams, that it's not going to go rampant through an organization.
And you have to pull a team out.
And you got to pull let's say it goes through the Lakers, and you got to pull them out. And how is that? That's going to affect revenue so much more than if it was a Phoenix Suns or a New York or Brooklyn.
What if it's Giannis
Nets.
in the Bucks?
I think that affects you hugely as well.
The Bucks been waiting 50 years for their second title. Got one early in the Lou Alcindor years, and really hadn't scared one since. The Clippers never won one. Clippers never been to a Western Conference Finals. They're really close to it. Keith made a great point about their team may finally get to Orlando and have everybody there together, and we know that should be formidable. But if those players, 2 or 3, I mean, just what 2 would do, the right or wrong 2, you take those teams out, and they become very, very human. If it's the Memphis Grizzlies, the local impact story that would be.
Yeah, it would be huge. And you also got to think of what about when these guys do test positive, because there are going to be positive tests. How far do you quarantine? I mean, do you quarantine everybody that person's been in contact with that day? Do you quarantine everybody not only on his team but the opponent's team, because we don't know how close he got to other people, how much he did sweat on the last place guy on the bench. You just don't know how precautionary you have to be. It might be overblown that you didn't have to do that, but say you don't, and then 2 days later, half of the opponent's team is riddled with it. It's just, there's so many question marks about it to where to think that it's going to go off without a hitch is just ludicrous. It's crazy to think that way.
It's absolutely ludicrous. And it's going to be somebody. There will be somebody down there that as we get closer to the finals might go to a teammate and go, look, I'm getting ready to tell you something. You can't tell a soul. But I felt like hell the last 2 days. But I don't want them pulling me off this roster and out of that lineup. Don't you say a word. I mean, like we see now in the NFL on concussion. Yeah. We know there are guys that are trying to kind of outfox and trick the team medical officials.
And on the flip side of that, I think there could possibly be, we've had all the guys that have opted out before getting to Orlando. I think we're going to see 1 or 2 opt out after being in Orlando, just not the lifestyle's not up to the NBA, quote unquote NBA lifestyle, that the food's
don't
not
want to
there.
Do this.
They just don't want to be there. They don't want to be stuck in a hotel room for 18 hours a day playing basketball for the other 6, not getting to have human contact, not going to get to be with their families and their friends. So there's going to be 1 or 2 that say, you know what, I know there's a lot of money on the line, but for my mental health, I just can't do it. I cannot stare at that TV or that wall for 1 second longer. I'm going to go insane. And
I've had all the ping pong I can stand.
Exactly.
But don't play doubles. Don't play doubles ping pong.
I can only walk up and down this hallway and back and forth in my room so many times before I literally start to go mad.
and you can play so much golf. We really are. We're going to have somebody's going to have hope nobody's riding around on a little tricycle like in The Shining, but somebody's going to have a Jack Nicholson come apart inside the bubble. Man, the stories coming out of this years later, and then we talk about the health aspect of it. When we get into traditional cold and flu season, we've said it before, it's not breaking news, but every single dry hack, dry cough, runny nose, starting Halloween on, we're going to be convinced we've got the plague of all time.
Yeah,
and we really may have, and we really may be positive for the virus. Do you know what the fatality rate right now, without looking it up, do you know what the fatality rate right now is in the state of Tennessee? For the entire state?
I'm going to say 0.15.
No, it's one.
It's over.
It's 1.25. It's over 1, but it is. I think it is the 4th or 5th lowest in the country.
That's pretty good.
So for the entire state, it has been pretty good. That is no consolation to anybody that has a loved one in that 1.25. I know that. People. I know that.
Yeah, those are still people.
So.
Those are still grieving families.
Very, very much so, and we are sad over it. But we sometimes we do have to look at the broader, larger macro picture. When we come back, we'll do that on baseball. We'll do it with Tim Doolin. That's next on Sports Time.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Hey, sports fans, you already know about the great steaks at the Butcher Shop Steakhouse, a Memphis tradition since 1981. They specialize in hand-cut aged beef right over that hickory charcoal. But did you know the Butcher Shop also has great seafood items, from fresh Atlantic salmon with dill sauce, pan-seared red snapper with sautéed shrimp and Cajun cream sauce, Canadian cold water lobster tails, crab stuffed shrimp, homemade lump crab cakes, and a whole lot more. Oh, and don't forget the Fresh Burger Fridays for only $8.95. Come in, enjoy a fantastic dinner at the Butcher Shop. If you need a great private party, the Butcher Shop is your place. 6 different private rooms, seating from 12 to 250, all equipped with audio-visual. Rehearsals, business dinners, luncheon, weddings. You call the Butcher Shop at 901-757-4244. Or you can visit the website at butchershop.com. Just drop in, 107 South Germantown Parkway.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Is your old energy-guzzling air conditioning system struggling to make it through the summer? As the summer heats up, many old, inefficient air conditioning systems just can't keep up. We know the timing's not always right to replace your air conditioning system. That's why we have air conditioning systems for as low as $79 per month. That's right, replace your old air conditioning system this month for as low as $79 per month with approved credit. And with today's more efficient models, you could be saving money on your utility bill every month. So the next time you have air conditioning problems, call the experts at Conway Services. And you know, with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Napa know-how. At Napa, we've stopped thinking outside the box. Instead, we're thinking inside the bucket. The $2.99 Napa bucket, to be exact. When you fill those bad boys with auto parts, you can get 20% off 3 or more items that fit inside. No overthinking required. Just get your bucket, fill it up, and save 20%. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores, exclusions apply. May not be combined with other offers. Offer ends 7/31/20.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Hi. Guess we should talk about something. How's the, vermicelli game in your town? Got any good Vietnamese restaurants? Vermicelli? Oh, it's a noodle. Very good. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
The NBA standings, they stay frozen in time from Wednesday night, March 11th. Baseball frozen in time from opening day. Everybody's 0-0, trying to get restarted 2 weeks from tonight for Major League Baseball. 2 weeks from tonight will be those 2 games and then 14 games that Friday the 24th. I hope we get to them. The 2021 schedule's out for all 30 Major League Baseball teams. I've taken a look and had some dreams of 2021, but right now just really hard to think about 2021 when we just want to get the next 3 weeks, 2 and 3 weeks behind us in the sports world and get a baseball start and an NBA restart going. Joining us to talk baseball, Tim Doolin is with us every week. And Tim Doolin, last week you mentioned, and you know that clubhouse tenor very well with the Los Angeles Dodgers, with your friends in baseball, particularly someone you're really close to, your mentorship and friendship with Mookie Betts. And then we got the news about David Price. I don't think he will be alone in wanting to pass on. He's not alone, and I think there will be more as we get closer to 2 weeks from tonight to opening night, an opening night that I will celebrate.
Well, there's no question it'll be a celebration for all the fans, and I do think for the large part of the players, they do want to play, and I fully understand David Price's decision when you look at the fact that he's got another kid on the way, and that he's really battled over the last 2 years for sure some nagging arm injuries, and the fact that his bank account is pretty full, and he doesn't have to worry about the $11 million that he's losing this year with all the uncertainty that's gone on, and that probably is going to continue to go on. I think you're going to see, like you said, there's going to be some of the major league veteran players for sure make decisions like David Price did. However, I do think that the majority of the players are somewhat excited about getting back into some form of normalcy, or at least playing the game they love.
Mm-hmm. And Tim, out of the players that I know you've had contact with throughout all this mess and restart of the summer camps, how worried do you think that a lot of them are about the testing problems and especially the delays that a lot of different teams have had thus far?
I don't think that there's as much of a concern, and by no means taking the COVID-19 lightly. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're doing that. I think more of the concern for the players is the just dealing with the fact that they're going to be playing in front of no fans. It's just going to be a different setup, and that part to me is going to be more taxing on the majority of players mentally and sometimes physically because of the way that they're going to be somewhat quarantined and confined and travel, and everything about it is going to be different than what they're used to. So I do think that some of them are probably worried about the COVID-19 and about the safety of them, the players themselves and their families. But I think as much is going to be the fact that they're going to be playing in empty stadiums, and it's going to be very difficult for them to be motivated to compete at the level that they're used to.
And Tim, for as many shots as I and Drew and you, all of us, and it's easy. It's one of the biggest pinatas in the history of sport. The easy shots to take at Rob Manfred. Flag the tape call. I want to pay Rob Manfred some credit. Breaking news for this. Think of if they had tried the bubble that they were once considering with the Ranger in Dallas, in Arlington, in Houston, maybe even in Round Rock where the AAA affiliate plays outside of Austin. They were maybe even contemplating Frisco, and if they had thought about the Phoenix Scottsdale plan with the outbreak that we are obviously having, it's undeniable what is occurring, the numbers, the hospitalizations, ICUs, fatalities, every number, every metric. There's no safe harbor in any of those virus numbers in those areas I just mentioned. If they had planned on that, Tim, they would have to scuttle the entire year. They made a good option going ballparks.
Well, I think they did, and I don't want to take credit away from him, I don't know that I want to give him tons of credit because this thing's been it's been a moving target from day one. You know, Dr. Fauci hasn't been accurate. The CDC hasn't been accurate.
Nobody is.
Not that they're not smart people; they obviously are. But we've gone from you shouldn't wear a mask, you should wear a mask, you should do this. So at the end of the day, I think it's working out, at least for the time being, that the plan is a much better plan than what you just mentioned about all the other options. So we just got to keep our fingers crossed that we don't hit a major spike, and God forbid, one of these major league, whether it's basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever, that we have a fatality due to it or whatever. And like I said, it's taxing. People don't realize how taxing it is mentally until, after the fact and after we get through it and you look back and go, we haven't been able to go to work, and we're depressed and mentally it's affecting us as we speak, but we really are not aware of it until we have to, see it on the back end.
Tim, so well said about the pressure that those people have to be under. I know it's got to be enormous because look, I've already called for Manfred's resignation, but if you had a fatality, if it's not a player, just a uniformed a member of the organization or an umpire, we got Joe West's comments today, and that's an easy subject to take a swing at too, and I did yesterday. I've never liked him, and I've never taken him seriously. But if they have that, it's one thing if you have a bunch of positives and you have teams that don't want to play, and you have a lot of teams mailing it in, and the play looks bad, and you got the goofy runner on second base to start extra innings. Okay, that's all kind of fair game for sports talk radio. It's a whole different subject matter if you got a fatality and you got somebody having to go to a funeral or funerals.
No, there's no question, and you know what's sad about it? If something were to happen like that, then it's going to be a political. It's going to be a political mess because then you're going to see a Manfred get fired because you made the wrong decision. Well, you know what? I don't think anybody's making the wrong decision, and I don't know that anybody's sure that the right decision's being made in doing what we're doing because. I'm sure everyone involved in any form of our society, whether it's your business, whether it's baseball, whether it's whatever, every day we wake up and go, "Oh, I hope something bad doesn't happen today." Well, when you start waking up dealing with the negative, it's pretty hard to be a productive citizen every day. It's like the guy that looks at this glass and it's, "Oh, that's half empty." No, most athletes are very optimistic and their glass is half full all the time.
On somewhat of a lighter note going forward, if the season goes off without a hitch and we are playing, Chicago today come out saying that they will have fans on the rooftop at 25% capacity. Could you see some of these things kind of popping up around Major League Baseball? Just kind of some makeshift stands where they could have some fans in there?
Yeah, I would hope so. Again, there's so many legal issues between the Players Association and the union and the owners and the teams. For one instance, we talked about this at dinner the other night with Terry Bevington, a former manager in the big leagues that's on my staff, is why wouldn't they allow people to watch the game from the skyboxes? I mean, that's pretty secluded and long ways away from the players. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm sure that's been discussed, but for some reason they're not allowing that. But I would hope that by playoff time, which is sooner than later, right? That we're gaining ground on this thing, and that we could open up to have some form of fans in the stands come the playoffs. But I think right now the main focus is to get the season started. I know the owners really want the season to happen because of the playoff money and all the things that they think that is important to recoup some of their potential losses. And like I said, I just think that we just got to keep our fingers crossed.
And Tim, we're going to get picture after picture of those vast empty seats, and look, we're just going to have to accept it. We the memes and the Twitter responses. I mean, the first time the Marlins play, it looks like a regular season game. Don't do that. Don't try to be that guy this year, and let's just try to accept it. Did you see the pricing structure for those rooftop seats around Wrigley?
I did not, but I also heard that I think Kansas City's selling, where they're going to sell a picture of your image for your seats, and they're selling them. So I mean, I think
that's for $100.
Good marketing.
$375 per to be in one of the rooftops, and in St. Louis, and they very much no pretense around it. They wanted to capture that Wrigley type field with those seats on top of Ballpark Village, but now those are normally counted in the nightly tote in the tickets sold. I don't know if they will be able to put fans there. Tim, I can see we're almost in St. Louis, especially for the Cubs series. It could be a public health crisis with so many people just wanting to be downtown, knowing they can't get inside the ballpark, but wanting to mix and mingle around a big rivalry. Same thing in Fenwayville. Same thing, Drew, outside of the Camden Yards. There are going to be a lot of people that just want to hang and congregate.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I mean, I'm in Dallas right now, and they've had a spike and everything, and they're making it mandatory if you go into a restaurant that you have to have a mask on. Well, which really makes no sense to me, because you walk in with a mask, 10 feet further, you're sitting at your table, you take the mask off, and you're eating your meal. I mean, there's just so many inconsistencies with how we're trying to social distance, and there's going to be much more talk of things that are going on outside the realm of baseball, like you said, from the cluttering of the downtown area, the restaurants, all those things are going to be issues that each city's going to have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. I mean, heck, if I was able to go to Baltimore this year and they decided they could only put 10 seats on top of the warehouse at Camden Yards, by golly, I'm gonna try to get one. But as far as with the 60-game season goes, we've seen so many teams that have won World Series get off to slow starts. I mean, Nationals last year through 60 games didn't look like they had a prayer making it to playoffs, let alone win the World Series. What top-tier team do you think that this is going to affect the most, is trying to get off to such a hot start?
Well, I can tell you that it's I don't know that there is a top-tier team that you're concerned about or in favor of, other than the Yankees and the Dodgers. I think I think we talked about this last week. I think the 14 of the 60 games that the Dodgers have are against teams that were below 500 last year. So you would think if you were setting odds on the favorites, obviously looking at that schedule, you would say the Dodgers are definitely, even though you would have said it prior to even the schedule coming out. So because we saw the Nationals do what they did last year, and nobody would have picked them to win the World Series, not even by the All-Star break they would have. I think it's going to be still a gamble to pick the front runner because of so many uncertainties. There's going to be players from each of these teams that are going to either opt out prior to the season, during the season. They're going to come up with an infamous injury that's going to say, they're going to say, I'm out, I'm hurt, because I just can't deal with pitching in front of no fans. I can't get motivated. I'm mentally not into the game. I don't want to get hurt because I'm not mentally into the game. So I think you're going to see a lot of that happen, and it's going to affect wins and losses, because you might have guys on the taxi squad you can bring up. They're not replacing that veteran player that's really good. And is that guy going to be mentally ready to compete at a high level? It's just, I'm just telling you, it's a moving target. I've had several conversations with Mookie about just making sure that you control what you can control and go out every day preparing for the season to happen as it's on the schedule, and prepare mentally to give it your 100%. Easier said than done.
It is, Tim, but it's kind of the old thing. If you're playing a little bit scared or a little bit apprehensive, that's when you get hurt. A player like that, and he will, you don't have to tell him, it's in him, but still go out and bust it and give 100%. The oldest, truest baseball thing, you'll never embarrass yourself going 100%.
No, that's exactly right. And if we were in normal times, guys have to learn. Mookie has had to learn how to pace himself. You can't go hard all the time, run into walls and dive and steal bases all for 160 games. Well, in this mode, you're almost having to trick your mind into trying to figure out how am I going to be at as close to 100% mentally and physically, dealing with all the things that have never been done before. I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Never been done.
These situations have never been done before.
This is baseball. This is sports going to the moon. This is the moonshot. This is something we've never seen before. Tim, we'll talk about it next week. We'll be closer. I know there'll be a lot of news between now and then. We'll talk about it all next week. You be safe in your travels.
Where's our boy Wolo? Is he just camped out at Miramichi playing
He's just doing Wolo things.
That's what he's doing. I think he's camped out at Miramichi trying to master that place. He'll be back with us next week.
All right, sounds good. You guys have a good weekend.
Thanks, Tim.
You got it, Tim.
Right.
Thank you. You be safe. Tim Doolin with us every Thursday. Odds to win the American League pennant. You ready, Drew?
I'm ready.
Yankees plus 170. Houston 3-1. Minnesota 6-1. Tampa Bay 7-1. Cleveland, Oakland, Boston all 13-1. The Southsiders, the White Sox 15-1. Angels 16-1. Texas and Toronto 33-1. Seattle 150-1.
Oh, how bad is it?
Detroit.
Oh, we're behind Detroit.
No, not behind. Detroit, Baltimore, KC. You just put $1 down, you win $250. That sounds easy, doesn't
Heck,
it?
I can waste $10.
Why, heck yeah.
Why not?
I'll give you $10.
I appreciate
I'll
it.
go halvesies with you.
I appreciate it. I'll do it.
I'll front the whole $10. Boy, it'd be a hell of a story we could tell, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would be. It would be phenomenal.
Yeah, you know what? You know what the story we're going to be telling? We lost $10.
Probably more than likely, yes. But I mean, who knows?
Tim made so many good points, and one of them, and this is not a shot. This is not me, and I've taken a few at Dr. Fauci. It's just been frustration.
Mm-hmm.
You know he is. You know he's a smart man. You know he is an accomplished person. You don't work over six different presidents. Three each from each party. You don't stay in that job and not be very accomplished. So I'm not playing any blame game, but we have bounced around, and I know why. I've said a couple times the reason why. Novel coronavirus.
It's new.
It's something that it's something we've never seen. You know, the only consistent message, literally from about March. Rudy Gobert night was March 11th. Grizzlies and the Magic were Tuesday night, March 10th.
Mm-hmm.
That previous Saturday was a Grizzlies game at FedEx Forum. And the previous Saturday, that February 29th, I'd been to Oxford and then came to Grizzlies Lakers. Really starting about March 1, you know the most consistent message? Think about it. What do you think it was?
Wash your
hands.
hands.
On the health front, that bingo. The only
the most common
message
sense thing
that most of us got down at about 2 or 3
yeah.
that mom and grandma taught.
Yeah, and at the latest kindergarten because they wouldn't let you leave the bathroom. I mean, it's simple.
Miss Hawley
hygiene.
taught me in 1967 in Far City. Yeah, it's simple hygiene, simple common sense. That's really been the only consistent thing. You still see it now, and do it with hot water and soapy water. Well, of course.
Yeah, I mean that's been the biggest thing for me since it started. They kept throwing this wash your hands campaign at us in our faces, and I just looked at everybody. It's like.
That's all you got?
Why do I have to tell people common sense? Why do I have to tell somebody to wash their hands, something that they should have regularly been doing since by the age of 5 on their own when they learned the happy birthday song and learned how to wash their hands for 2 consecutive happy birthdays? Like it's not if my niece and nephew know how to do it, then you as grown men and women definitely should.
You sure should. At 5:30, all three of us, and we want people to send in your list at 67129 at the First Bank text line, or call us at 5:30 at 360-8255. Your top 10 NBA teams in the bubble. How will it look when we get to Orlando and we can finally talk about play? We wrap up this hour and we talk about play when we come back on Sportstime.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
Napa know-how.
Right now, get 5 quarts of Napa Full Synthetic Motor Oil plus a Platinum Oil filter for just $22.98. Why does synthetic motor oil give your engine superior lubrication and protection? Because science. That's why. Pick up 5 quarts of Napa Full Synthetic plus a Platinum Oil filter for just $22.98. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales price does not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 7/31/20.
Hey, clones, you've heard me talk about Walmart delivery before, but now Walmart has the fastest delivery service yet. Walmart Express Delivery. Get groceries and more delivered from their door to yours with no contact delivery in 2 hours or less. Zero markups. Same low price as in-store. Don't let work, kids, an at-home workout, or whatever else life throws at you right now get in the way of getting what you need when you need it. Try Walmart Express Delivery today. Restrictions and fees do apply.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
If you just caught me on the Zoom blowing my nose, it's allergies, and that's why my throat is a little bit scratchy too. And rare for me, probably sleeping with the air conditioner a little too cool, and I can fix that because I sure don't mind saving money. But if I sound a little phlegmatic today, nothing at all wrong. It's a little bit a dose of allergies and probably just laying under too cold of an air conditioner. Our buddy Vince Ferrara that joins us quite often from Knoxville on Twitter at Vince Sports covers all things Big Orange, University of Tennessee, with a really good tweet. And he's hearing from SEC officials that if the SEC goes conference games only, it would probably be the 8-game schedule the teams had might be different dates than than the original schedule, but it would bring in the 21-22 crossover games, and that makes sense. For instance, for Tennessee, that would be hosting Ole Miss and going to LSU.
Ooh, that's That's some daunting task right there.
For Georgia, it would be hosting Arkansas and going to Mississippi State. For Florida, it would be hosting Alabama and going to Texas A&M. For Vanderbilt, hosting Mississippi State and going to Alabama. For Alabama, it would be going to Florida, hosting Vandy. Arkansas, going to Georgia, hosting South Carolina. Boy, Sam Pittman, tough job, made even tougher.
Yeah, it is.
Auburn, going to South Carolina, hosting Mizzou. That's not that tough.
It's not bad.
LSU, going to Kentucky, not easy, hosting Tennessee, as we mentioned. Mississippi State, going to Vandy, hosting Georgia. Ole Miss, going to Tennessee, not easy. And don't you know the reception will be very nice for Lane Kiffin.
Oh, it will be.
In Knoxville. And then hosting Kentucky, not easy at all with the great job that Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky. And then Texas A&M rounding out the West, going to Mizzou and hosting Florida at College Station. If they go to 10 games, might not do 10 games in some conferences, Drew.
Yeah, might not be able to. I mean, just due to the fact that, I mean, you look at schools like, or conferences like the Big 12 right now, who only have 10 teams in their school. They're going to have to figure out some way, because if everybody else goes to 10 and we still have a college football playoff type of scenario for a postseason this year, it's going to be, you have to be on level playing field. So they're going to have to be able to get to 10. Otherwise, they're not going to really have a prayer at the CFP, even if they go 9-0, because somebody had to play an extra game.
And I'm not here to disagree with the decision the Ivy League made earlier in the week or the Big Ten made today. Some are taking a few shots at it being too soon. I can't do that. I don't think you can do too soon. You got to start making plans. Look, it's July 9th. It's normally when we're all heading off to media days, and that comes too soon some years. But to actually talk about changing a schedule on the fly, I don't think too soon.
No, and like I said yesterday when we were talking about the TSSAA, give me a plan. Give me what you're feeling right now. If you got to redact it, if you got to make changes to it, that's fine. Hopefully they're positive changes. And the trends are going up and going in the right direction, then fine. Yeah, you might have to fully backtrack, and heck, maybe we can even go to normal. But I need to know that you have a plan and you have something to figure it out, to where I'm still going to get to watch college football this year. And if that means from my couch or 6 feet apart at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium, I need to know a plan. I need to know that you're really thinking about it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I want a little clarity, and we're all hoping for that and for some normality. Hour number 3, it starts with Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal. That's next on Sports Time.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this Thursday afternoon at 5:30. We will have our top 10 NBA teams down in the Orlando bubble. Carl has worked on his list. Drew has his. I have mine. And we want yours at 360-8255 or at 67129 at the First Bank phone number or at the First Bank text line. Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal will join us momentarily to talk all things Tigers, the golf tournament, the hoop showcase ongoing in town. He's wearing a lot of hats this week and very busy. We'll catch up with him on his very, very busy world after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Visit their website, DeSoto Auto Sales, and check out all the very pleased, happy referrals from all the customers, repeat customers at DeSoto Auto Sales. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in, you're treated like family. Kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. They know we're living in a world today that time matters. We're all in a hurry, and they know how to make you happy. You walk in, find the car you want, credit approved, paperwork completed. You're gone, very pleased, in less than an hour, in about 45 minutes, in time to do it over your lunch hour. All the cars test-driven, all checked out bumper to bumper. Nothing sacrificed for you, the very, very most important person, the customer, and they want to please you at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. You can follow Jason Munns on Twitter at Munzley, Munzly. He is the Tigers beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. The Commercial Appeal site on Twitter at Memphis News. You're wearing a lot of hats this week, Jason Munns. I've told you, and I meant this sincerely, I've told you, you remind me so much of Ron Higgins, who to this day, he doesn't go to the post office. Ron Higgins wouldn't go buy a gallon of milk without taking one of those recorders or a reporter's notebook to make some notes with, and you're probably personifying that this week with golf tournament stories, with the showcase in town, and on Musa Cisse Watch. Busy week. I know you love it.
You know, it's so funny, Brett. Like, we don't, you and I haven't talked about that. This wasn't set up. I didn't tell you that was how I operate, and yet you knew it. I mean, it's like, yeah, no. I mean, like,
I see it in your work.
if I go to the gas station, I mean, especially, I will say this, it's because everything is moving so fast and, I mean, like, it feels like things are moving slow, but, really everything, a lot of decisions are being made seemingly is kind of at the drop of a hat. So, I mean, if I go to the gas station, I got to bring my laptop, and I do, because
Heck yeah.
It all just happened so fast. So, but anyway,
and it's it's what you want to do. It's what you wanted to do. We want to be this busy.
I do. Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, it's not to say that it doesn't get tiring at times, or even a little bit, nerve-wracking. But no, it's awesome. This is, once you get through it and you're on the other side of it, and you look back and you're like, man, that was fun.
Yeah, Jason, and I hope that you've been getting a lot of good responses on, especially I've seen what you've been doing on Twitter from the Hoop City BC over the course of this week. Who's obviously the best player too that is at the Hoop City?
J.D. Davison, hands down. He was the best player there. He's out of Alabama, Birmingham area. He's rated the number 2 guard and number 2 point guard in the class of 2021 by 247 Sports. And I'd like to see. I should know this off the top of my head. I don't who the number 1 guy is, but I'd like to see him, because if he's better than J.D. Davison, that's saying something.
Bring it on. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive. That would be pretty impressive. But no, he's explosive. He can shoot from outside. He's got great vision, and it's been fun watching him over the last 3 days. But no, I would say, yeah, he's the best, but there are others. Sky Clark is a 2022 guy who will more than likely move into the class of 2021, and seeing those two go head to head was a real treat. And there are a lot of, there was a lot of talent out there. Mason Miller, Jonathan Lawson, just to name a few.
Who's the best local player?
I would say after watching this 3-day event put on by Hoop City Basketball Club, I thought Jonathan Lawson really showed, he's got the body for it. He's 6'6". He's a little thin. He's probably around 165, 170. But he can do a lot of things really well. It doesn't look smooth all the time. It looks like he's still sort of learning and growing. As his body continues to mature, it seems like he's having to, learn on the fly, so to speak. But the results are there. I mean, I just wrote a story on him and another guy that I thought played really, really well the last 2 days. Was T.J. Madlock, Tony Madlock's son. He plays at Houston. Jonathan Lawson plays at Woodell, and T.J. Madlock, he scored 32 yesterday, going against J.D. Davison, and put up 29 today. So I would say, though, as far as like projecting, who's probably going to, who's probably the best prospect for colleges, I would say it's Jonathan Lawson, but whoever gets T.J. Madlock is going to get a heck of a player, versatile, well-rounded player.
Was there a guy there that maybe you hadn't heard a lot about, or maybe hadn't heard much about him at all, that Tiger fans and other college basketball fans name they should remember?
Yeah, I mean, TJ's not he's not got a bunch of offers. I mean, he's been offered by Little Rock and Florida Atlantic. Those are like his top 2 offers. He told me today that after yesterday, because this tournament, these exhibition games were live streamed on Facebook, and I talked to Ernie Kuiper, the president of Hoop City, who told me that there was like 100 programs that had confirmed to him that they were going to be watching. on Facebook Live, 100 college coaches that were going to be paying attention. And TJ told me just after the first day he heard from Valparaiso, UNO, and Ernie told me that TCU and Iowa State inquired about TJ. So, I didn't know a ton about him going in. He's unranked on the 247 composite list. He's a 3-star. 247 has him as a 3-star, but he's unranked in the composite rankings. I think that'll probably change here pretty soon. He seems to have made some pretty big strides. But another name that popped out today, Davion Warfield. In the first half of today's exhibition game, he had 17 points in the first half.
Wow.
On 6 of 12 shooting, 5 of 10 from 3. So, he filled it up pretty well. And another guy, Reese McMullen, he scored 22 points in yesterday's game with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. So, a lot of good basketball out there.
And Jason, this is a great basketball town, and Ernie Kuiper is one of the nicest people and a real ambassador for the game, and he's done a great job with this. Who's been allowed in? I know it's been some media credentials and protocol, but what about other people and just people wanting to watch basketball? Were any coaches, were any college officials allowed in?
No, it was media, and then family. A couple of family members if they wanted to come watch their son play. That was really about it. I mean, outside. I mean, obviously John Morant was there on day one. I think he was it was a special treat for the players on the team for him to be there and to offer some advice to them. He kind of gathered them all together and gave a little speech, and so that was nice. R.J. Hampton was there a couple of days. Boogie Ellis was there a couple of days. So, just kind of watching, and Mike Miller being there. Obviously, his son Mason played in this event, and so Boogie and RJ
Tony Madlock could be there.
Yeah, Tony Madlock was there. All 3 days,
which has some eyes on the program for the University of Memphis. I'm asking. I don't know a discreet way to do it, so I'm going to be blunt. Do you think colleges make sure they have somebody there to kind of report back to somebody, maybe not to the head coach level, but somebody there to keep an eye on things and then report back to Boeheim and Patino and Krzyzewski and Cal and all the coaches?
I wouldn't doubt it. Even if that's like a media member. I know Corey Evans, the basketball recruiting guy for Rivals.com, he was there the first couple of days. He's somebody who has those people. He's got he's got connections. He's a national basketball guy. So
sure,
I'm sure when he's catching up with his sources, they may ask him how he, what his opinion was. He was there in the flesh. So, I wouldn't doubt it at all.
And you obviously mentioned his son, Mason Miller. You said Mike Miller was in the building. Do you have any, have you heard any rumors or anything on who maybe is the top slot to replace Mike on the Memphis staff?
No, I think it's still pretty wide open. I mean, I've talked to some people who told me that, I've heard some names of people that Penny has interviewed or that have expressed interest in the job. I think the number is somewhere around 20 to 25 interviews that were taking place, and I expect Penny to. I think that round of interviews is over, and so I expect Penny to. Start narrowing that list down, and then maybe going into secondary, the secondary phase, here, I would say in the next week or two, but I do know that he's in no rush whatsoever to fill that position. Everything's on pause. So, it's no rush.
Jason Muns, we stood firm on where we thought Moussa Cisse would eventually sign and play college basketball for. I love the recruiting guys. They work so very hard. I don't have a crystal ball. I get lucky every now and then. If I tried to do what they did, I would make an abject fool of myself because I just don't have the intel and the sources that they have. But I never wavered. You never did either. And we're not trying to spike the ball here, but I knew Moussa Cisse didn't move here to play at Lausanne to go to LSU.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that the more I think about it, it's like I wonder if it makes you wonder when so many people are thinking one thing, it makes you wonder whether, one person out of that group or two people out of that group might have heard one thing from one person or two people, and that made everybody else it's a small fraternity, this media, this sports journalism, especially the recruiting side of it, it's a small fraternity. And so it just makes you wonder if when one person hears something and it starts to trickle out, does everybody say, well, if he heard it, then it's probably true. Or if he heard it from that person, it's probably true. And it makes you wonder just how much of that sort of stuff goes on. And maybe that's the reason why so many people thought LSU. But I'll tell you, I mean, the majority, I would say, maybe not the majority, but certainly more than a handful of people who try to keep tabs on Memphis recruiting in Memphis, never wavered on the fact that he would eventually pick the Memphis Tigers. And yeah, I mean, I won't say I never wavered completely, or I won't say I ever wavered completely, but I certainly, at times, I was like, this is continuing, this LSU stuff is just continuing to be so pervasive, and it seems like everybody who's saying LSU, they're so unwavering, it makes you question yourself sometimes.
Well, but you have to, but and you know this, you have to guard against the groupthink with the herd mentality.
No, you're absolutely right, and I did, and you did, as you said, and it certainly appears that that it's a good thing we never did take that bait.
Yeah. Well, do you know why it's taken him so long to make a decision? I mean, well, let's be honest. I mean, if we have schools and everything going forward, I mean, school starts in a month.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to ask him. All we know really is when he said he was going to commit on this date, and then he pushed it back, saying that everything that was going on in the world, because it was around the time when the protests started, and he made the statement that he didn't want to take away. It didn't feel right to him to do it with all that stuff going on. And who are we to say that that's not that was disingenuous, or he was using that as an excuse to delay it for another reason. I don't know, but I feel like my gut tells me that it's a big decision, and he is a very, very highly sought after recruit who a number of schools are still very much in pursuit of, and I think that there's a lot of pressure that goes along with that. I mean, listen, LSU, one of the LSU assistant coaches is in pretty tight with Moussa Cisse's brother, and there's a lot of weight to that. But then again, Moussa's very tight with a lot of people around the Memphis program. He's lived in Memphis for the last year plus, and he and Precious are real close, even though he's not here anymore. He and Lester are quite close, so Lester Quinones. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big decision, and I tend to think that's.
And I like Bill Armstrong a lot, and I know how hard he's worked. And it's one of the saddest things about the pass-fail nature of recruiting, whether you're on the right side of it or not. There's no medal for second place. You either get him or you don't.
Yeah, I mean, and Memphis fans know that all too well. When Jalen Green, he went to the G League, but he told a reporter that had he gone to college, it would have been Memphis. So there's not much of a consolation. Yeah.
No, I mean, thanks. I mean, that's one of the, instead of winning the $10,000 on Plinko and the Price is Right, you get a set of luggage.
It's almost like salt in the wound a little bit.
It really is. All right, the golf tournament, while we're sad, I don't think any of us are stunned, and I don't think there's any blame game to play. It's sure not any for the local officials or even the tour. We are in a global pandemic, and it hit us.
Yeah. I mean, it was when they made the announcement earlier this week, I think it was Monday, that fans would not be allowed at next week's tournament in Ohio. I think it was like, that's it's not going to be much longer before, especially because Tennessee in this area, this sort of region, is seeing a pretty significant spike in coronavirus positive cases. So, but no, that doesn't make it an easier pill to swallow. It was record crowds last year for an event that's been going on in Memphis since 1958, and it was going to be record crowds again, I would imagine. And in talking to some folks, they indicated that they had come up with a plan that the city and local government officials, health officials had worked with them to come up with a plan for limited fan attendance. But the PGA Tour just isn't, they're not willing to risk the safety and well-being of their players, and so they pulled the plug. And you can't blame them. It's when Brooks Koepka was pulling out a week or two ago, and Nick Watney tested positive, and a couple of caddies were testing positive. It's like, I think Webb Simpson pulled out of one because he had a family member test positive. It's like, we got to make sure that we don't take any, that we take all the precautions that we possibly can. And unfortunately, taking the spectator aspect out of the FedEx St. Jude Invitational, that's part of the deal.
Jason, thank you so much. I know you've been very busy. Keep that mask on. Did you have a mask on at all the games?
100%. A different mask every day.
Yes, sir.
Brad. I was.
Yes.
I try to mix it up.
Very good. I knew you would. You didn't break out a Southern Miss mask, did you?
Ooh.
No. First day was like a gray cloth. Next day was blue pinstripe. Today was navy blue. So I try to.
Well, you kept it. You kept it Memphis. Yeah, you kept the colors represented. Good job.
That's right,
Jason. Stay healthy out there to you and yours, and don't work too hard. But we have loved the coverage, and we loved our time with you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Thanks.
You got it. Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal with us on all the subjects he's covering. Tell him it's a slow time.
Exactly. I mean, the man's working himself into an early grave. It seems like, how much stuff he's covering over there for the CA. But I do love reading his stuff. Always very accurate, always very right to the point, which is exactly what you want in a news journalist. No BS, no nothing. Just here are the facts.
Just the
Here's
facts,
how it happened, and take it.
That's all I want.
Take it how you will.
And he delivers on it, and he delivers every day. And I really have enjoyed since he's been here and on that Tiger beat. And it's been some beat to cover. We've talked about this. Did Penny Hardaway sign up for this?
And that's the
this
thing.
world that we're in.
Well, I mean, nobody really signed up for this, but did he sign up for the daily grind of it? Was he 100% having never really been an assistant?
And it has been a grind.
It has been a grind. I mean, just how many different guys they've gone after. I mean, how many different things have gone the wrong way, from James Wiseman to now the IARP situation going on. I mean, did he sign up for this many headaches? Because I didn't think that it was going to be this many bumps in the road and this many stoppages and all things that affect the Penny era thus far through 2 seasons, getting ready to kick off season number 3.
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we're going to have Jeff Brightwell with us from the Tiger Sports Network, and look forward to getting his insight on this. And so often, Drew, you hear politicians in a campaign or coaches at a first press conference, I'm ready on day one. There's no way you can be because you don't have a clue what's coming at you.
No, you don't.
And none of us do.
You can prepare as much as you want. You can get as much advice from people that have done it before as you can. But until you're in there day in and day out through the grind of pretty much anything in this world, whether it's sports or politics or just your average
living,
job, just living, until you do it day in and day out and get used to the grind of it, you're never truly ready.
And it's why I rejected the lack of experience that would be such a detriment for him. I knew he knew basketball. I knew he knew how to relate to people. He has shown both of those things. I think lost in the 2 years, we'll ask Jeff about this tomorrow as well, lost in the 2 years, Coach Hardaway has shown himself to be a really good floor coach on the fly.
Yeah, I think he has. He's shown just the fact of he does know the game. He knows how to put his players in the best situation. And the thing that I've loved about Penny is he hasn't been the normal superstar of, if I can do this, why can't you type of coach. He plays to his players' strengths, helps fix their weaknesses, and doesn't expect too much. It doesn't expect more than they physically can give.
And that superstar coach, so often the downside to them, they expect everybody to be as good as they were. They expect everybody to be able to be in the open court and make a behind-the-back blind pass like Penny Hardaway could. And sometimes they think you're throwing the ball to Shaquille O'Neal. Well, those two don't come along very often.
They don't.
It's very rare. You're running a break and you see Nick Anderson on one side and Shaq on another. It's very rare. He has not put undue expectations on youngsters, and that is a real show of maturity. And that was another reason I wasn't that worried about having never been head coach, because he wasn't doing it at 33. He was already in his 40s and had lived, not a complete, but had lived a pretty full life, and for sure a great basketball life. So I was not that concerned about it. We'll keep it on basketball. We'll go to where he started in his NBA career. We'll talk about the Orlando bubble teams. We'll have our top 10. We want yours at 67129 at the First Bank text line, or 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line. Your top 10 NBA teams that are assembled in Orlando. That's next on Sportstime.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Family and fun come together.
Did you know that right now Geico is offering an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies? That's 15% on top of the money Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Your dog to make you breakfast in bed with Belgian waffles and fresh fruit compote? As nice as that sounds, that's probably never going to happen. But at least there's never been a better time to switch to Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch to Geico by October 7th. Visit geico.com to learn more.
No matter how you top it, you can't top Pizza Hut's best delivery deal. Large 3-topping pizzas for just $9.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Extra charge for some crusts. Deal availability in delivery areas. Charges and minimums apply. Delivery charge not a tip.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Before we get to our top 10 teams in Orlando, a quick look at the first day, round one of the Workday Charity Open. First of two events in back-to-back weeks at Muirfield Village at Jack Nicklaus's Club and course in Dublin, Ohio. One of these days, Drew, somebody needs to take Colin Morikawa, the young player out of Cal. He is at 7 under, 65 today. Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor, two Canadians in second and third place, 6 and 5 under for Hadwin and Taylor. Hideki Matsuyama, John Gowen's pick. We said one of these 2 weeks he'll probably win or really come close. He's at 5 under. Zach Johnson at 5 under. Adam Long at 5 under. Aaron Wise at 5 under. Justin Thomas at 4 under. Pat Perez with the long flowing locks, he's at 4 under. Bet Pat Perez has had fun on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I'm sure he definitely has. I'm sitting here looking at my guys, and Ricky's at T63 shot even. He was at 2 under, I believe, earlier today. Must have bogeyed there on 18 to get back down to even. And Cameron Champ at -2. So I've got a
Cameron
shot.
Champ. Played college golf at Texas A&M. My pick, Victor Hovland, my lock, 3 under, 69, former standout player at Oklahoma State. Poor Dave. Brings in a pro, brings in a ringer. I mean, violates every tenet of the sportsmanship clauses. I don't know if we should haul him before the standard and practices committee, but he certainly was in violation of it. Justin Rose and Scott Stallings, both 2 over, both T112.
I mean, it's just a shame for
See what cheating to do for you?
That's exactly what cheating are doing. Cheaters don't get anywhere in life, kids. Remember that.
Never. They never do. And I just really sad to see just a great golf picker at one time resort to such chicanery and just to do anything to win. But we'll address that with him on Monday, and he'll have to answer for himself. That's all he can do.
He'll have to answer for his actions.
We look forward to having Dave back with us on Monday. All right, Carl, you wanted to jump in on this top 10 list. You passed on the college football coaches list. You passed on those quarterback lists. You wanted to go to NBA, and I'll be stunned if it doesn't start with your Lakers. Your top 10.
Of course, you already know it started with my Lakers, of course. 2, I have to go with the Clippers. 3, as bad as it kills me to say this, I'm pretty sure my best friend Griff is out there. He's probably jumping for joy, but his Celtics, I have to give them 3. I promise I still can't stand them, but they have to be number 3. 4, I have the Bucks, Raptors at 5. I have the Mavs at 6, the Sixers at 7, the Blazers at 8, our beloved Grizzlies at 9, and the Pelicans at 10.
Got Portland at 8. I like Portland your Dallas pick. Keith Smith liked that too. He said between their big 3 players and with Rick Carlisle, that could be a team for the proverbial making noise. I'm going to start with my number 1. Carl, it was your number 1. As long as LeBron James is there on a representative team, he's the best player in the game. Anthony Davis is a great player. Everybody's going to be healthy, but if you got LeBron James and you're a representative team like they are this year as opposed to last year when they were so injury riddled, I'm going to start with Lakers. Number 2, I go with Giannis and the Bucks. 3, the Clippers. So I think it'll be Lakers Clippers in a Western Conference Finals. Number 4, so you'll see my Eastern Finals with Bucks against the defending champs, the Raptors. Number 5, Houston. Number 6, Denver, and that was a shaky one because of who will show and who will play. Number 7, real shaky, but who will show, who will play, and what will they get out of everyone, and that includes the conductor, Mike Conley. Number 7, Utah. Number 8, Toronto. You had them 3, Carl. I'm sorry, Boston. You had them 3. I have them 8. Number 9, Oklahoma City. Number 10, he could play in that hazmat suit, and I think he will be good. Joel Embiid in Philadelphia.
That is a list, Brett. I mean, we were on the exact same wavelengths for the first 4. We were on the same wavelength for 6 and 7 and 10. And the 5, just swap your 5 and 8, and that's my list. I got the Lakers, Bucks, Clips, then Raptors. I have Celtics at 5, Denver Nuggets at 6, Utah Jazz at 7, Houston Rockets at 8. I do have Miami in at 9 just due to the fact of what they've been able to do with really not a lot of names, not as big of talent that we've seen from Miami and that
Spoelstra.
Eric Spoelstra has just done a phenomenal job. And, when he first got the job, I think everybody was wondering, how much is it him? How much is it Pat Riley?
Thought he was a caretaker.
Yeah, just thought he was just a face and a puppet that was getting his strings pulled. But throughout his career down in Miami, you can definitely tell that he knows what he's doing and has done a phenomenal job. And I got the 76ers. And it would have been real easy when doing this list just to take the top 5 of each conference and kind of mush them together. But I like the 76ers just due to the fact of the young talent, of how much talent they have there. And if they're playing right, especially like Keith Smith said, when they're on their home court, they're unstoppable. But how is it going to translate? Hopefully, being a neutral court, it kind of translates out a little bit even.
And it's going to be the neutral court of all time. Man, this is going to be the Hague. It is going to be the peak neutrality. There's not going to be one person in there that can cheer. It's going to be the most antiseptic setup, we hope it is, on the health front that is very antiseptic. But it's going to be, it is going to be neutrality like we've never seen.
It's bring your own motivation. There's nobody there to push you. There's no crowd to get behind you. If you want it, you got to bring it yourself because ain't nobody giving you any extra energy.
And the news today that Mike D'Antoni, 69 years young, he was on the team plane. He did arrive with the Rockets. Everything fine on the health front. And I think that's the biggest scare for something really scary is one of the older coaches.
Yeah, because, obviously you don't want anybody to get COVID-19, but especially somebody who is up in their later years who it would affect a lot worse where if they were symptomatic, they'd feel a whole lot worse than a young 23 to 29-year-old, depending on which team you're looking at as far as age-wise goes. And you just never want to put somebody in that situation. Mike D'Antoni seems to be very, very healthy, very, very fit. So if he's willing to go for it, then I say go for it, buddy.
Are we taking a vow right now of no asterisk? We're not going to do that to whatever team ends up winning. If it emerges out of it, the Memphis Grizzlies, do you think the sports world would attach an asterisk to it?
There will be an asterisk depending on who wins. Lakers win, no asterisk. Memphis Grizzlies win, huge asterisk. Huge asterisk.
Who's the first team on your list that you think the sports world will question? They only won it because of the crazy year and the bubble, and it's not legitimate. Who's the first one on your list, Carl, that you think the national media would assail is not legitimate champion?
That's a tough one. I would probably have to say, honestly, the Lakers, that they would have to win it simply behind the passing of Kobe Bryant. It's only right for them to win it. That's what I believe the media will have to say some of it.
So it's win it or bust for them.
Correct.
Who for you, Drew?
For me, as far as asterisk goes, this is gonna probably shock you. I think a lot of people listening to my list would have thought I'd say Miami or Philly, but I'm gonna go with the team right above it. I'm gonna go with Houston Rockets, and just because of James Harden and how much playoff trouble he's always had, and Russell Westbrook has never been that great.
Would get it.
They would all get it. They would get the asterisk because of how they've never been able to put it. They're built for the regular season. They've never been able to put it together in crunch time when it really matters, and they finally do it in a neutral spot. They definitely get a big asterisk. I think you could kind of have that conversation with Utah maybe, but I think Utah's a lot more legitimate. I think Houston would be the first one on my list where there's at least a small asterisk beside it.
I have Houston 5. They would get questioned at minimum and ripped at maximum. Here's mine, number 9, and I may lead the charge against him. Chris Paul in OKC.
Yeah, see, I couldn't put OKC on there just due to the fact that it's got Chris Paul, and if I was setting a list of teams that I legitimately think can win an NBA Finals, any team that Chris Paul's on isn't going to be on my list. I mean, the man, as much as he is a great and a Hall of Fame basketball
Going to the
player.
Hall of Fame.
I'm not taking anything away from him, but he will never be on a championship parade. It's that simple.
David Stern messed that up for him.
He wouldn't.
David Stern definitely messed that up for him.
Not allowed him to go to the Lakers back when in the Pelican days, but he has been on great teams and we saw him in the playoffs and his behavior and how he'd work the refs and how he would whine. I mean, it was such bad form. Could not stand him. One of my least favorite professional athletes of all time.
He's got to be up there as far as basketball players go, just due to but then again, I mean, since Chris Paul really started doing that back when he was with New Orleans, the New Orleans Hornets at the time, it's almost become commonality in the NBA where you are allowed to whine, where you are allowed to complain, where you are allowed to kind of throw a little bit of a hissy fit at the refs. He's really made that a commonplace in basketball.
Too much so, and I think going forward, the leagues around sports, the working of the ref, the working of the umps, it's got to end. Go with the call. It
does. I mean, yes, like obviously our favorite sport's baseball. You work the ump, you razzle him a bit just to try to figure out where he is, where his spots are going to be.
The virus may be ending it. Because you can't get in their face anymore.
Yeah,
There's no more big manager umpire arguments.
Oh, man, Earl Weaver is rolling over in his grave knowing that he can't kick dirt in somebody's feet and get tossed out right now.
Bobby Cox, man. I mean, all of them. Just, and kind of the show that goes with that, maybe that would be one adjunct of the virus of you can't get in my face. Get away from me. Yeah. You're a health threat.
Yeah, stay away from me. I don't want to get in your face. Don't get in mine. So therefore, I'm not going to listen to you chirp. I'm not going to listen to you yell at me. And the louder you get, because I'm not going to let you close to me, the more chances I'm going to throw you out. And I think it will help out the whining.
So in the East, I have, according to this list, we'll make picks as it gets closer, and we'll see how teams play coming out of the bubble as the regular season ends. But I would have out of the East, Bucks, Toronto. I think it's pretty clear who I would take in the finals there. I had Bucks preseason in the NBA Finals. In the West, Lakers, Clippers. Preseason, I had Clippers winning the West and the Clippers defeating the Bucks in the finals to finally win their first Western Conference championship and their first NBA championship. And the idea of that team really peaking at this time, there wouldn't be an asterisk thrown on them, would it?
No, I don't think any of those teams you just mentioned would have an asterisk because they were set to do it going into the year. When the stoppage stopped, when Rudy Gobert night hit and the stoppage began, there was no conversation about that they weren't a front runner to get to their respective conference championship. There was no discussion that they couldn't win the NBA Finals. So,
what's the best case scenario for the Grizzlies down in Orlando? What they come out of Orlando and we got a head of steam and a lot of momentum heading into next year. If we can have fans, it moves the season ticket needle. What's the best scenario?
Well, I mean, obviously, best scenario would be bringing home the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But realistically, I was about to say, realistically, I think it's win 2 games against the Lakers. I think realistically, you get to Game 6 and
2 would be great,
and you carry that momentum in.
And I really thought if the season, if life had stayed on track, that they might could win 2 in a 1-8 against the Lakers, and what that would have done at home at FedEx Forum for locking in people, because playoff time is a good time for that person that hadn't bought a box or hadn't bought a corporation that hadn't bought a group of 12 to 16 tickets or more, for them to get interested in it and see it at playoff time. And that is the best time in the year around here for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, that's when you want your ticket salesmen and agents to be outside of every section, because that's when, especially after a win, that's when you want to kind of build up that drama for season tickets next year. It's not on a mid-January day or night where there's 12,000 people there and you're playing Orlando or something like that. No, it's got to be playoff atmosphere. And tell you the truth, the only times I've ever seriously thought about buying season tickets, even though I go to games for free, is after playoffs.
Playoff time just so
it's
much
just so
fun.
magical.
Just magical to see to see the arena like that. Even the late games, those 8:40 and 8:45 games, and the morning after a win, you're not near as sleepy. You're not near as tired, drowsy. I mean, you head into work and around town, all the towels out and the car decorations. It has been so much fun, and a shame that missed out on that, because this young team, while making those strides this year, I still don't think it captivated people around town. I talked many times that I didn't feel the Ja mania. Yes, people were recognizing we got something special, but I don't know if they were captivated by it. And the chance to lock them in, unfortunately, we missed out on, and now they go to the very sterile, very antiseptic, literally and figuratively, we hope, Orlando bubble to see how they will do there. When we come back, we wrap up this day with Taco Bell Crunch Time. That's next on Sports Time.
Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and C.J. Hertz. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Glad to announce the Rendezvous open for business 11A to 8P Tuesday through Saturday. World famous Rendezvous up and running. If you need some barbecue nachos, brisket, ribs, maybe a cheese and sausage plate, the Rendezvous back and open for dine-in, carry out, and curbside. While not much changes in the alley basement, you will see a few small differences and additions. For now, open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. And they have desserts. Think key lime pie tarts, chocolate chess pie tarts. Spend some time downtown and visit our friends at the Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis since 1948. All of the Virgus family thanks Memphis and the Mid-South so very much for your support during these times, and they're there for you, as always, in the alley in downtown Memphis. Mr. Charlie Virgos and family's famous restaurant, The Rendezvous.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, iBuyHouses can get you your money quickly. iBuyHouses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. iBuyHouses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. iBuyHouses.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar? Your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, how many did we hit, man?
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Well, we've learned a lot today, Drew, including breaking now. The Pac-12 will announce tomorrow that they're joining the Big Ten in conference only. Also, none of the 6 games for week 0 that's only 51 days away, none of those will take place. None are conference matchups. All those will be scuttled. We also learned today that the Moussa Cisse decision, it's coming soon. I thought he was going to Memphis the whole time. I think I'll be right. May only have him in a year. I hope we see him a year, Drew.
Yeah, I do too. I don't want to get in the same situation.
In jeopardy now.
Same situation, or anywhere close to the same situation of the James Wiseman, where I
wasn't going there.
I wasn't able to.
I was just going virus.
Just going virus.
I begged you to go opening night. I told you to go to the South Carolina State game.
I had to work. I got
what
stuck
a kind
here.
of excuse is that?
I got stuck here. What I could have learned today is that court findings that Zion Williams' stepfather took a $400,000 payment in October of 2018 prior to his only season at Duke, according to a court motion and sworn affidavit filed by his former marketing representative's attorney in federal court. Yes, today, Gina Ford's attorney said the affidavit and other exhibits show that Williamson was ineligible when he played for the Blue Devils in 2018 and 19 because his stepfather received impermissible benefits from Slacko Durick, a Canadian marketing agent.
Well, that story, how's that story end? Duke get in any trouble?
No, it never had. They don't get a slap on the wrist.
No, and no Elite Eight banner up at Cameron Indoor, but nothing's coming down either. That's as far as he got, and the year before that was as far as they got with Marvin Bagley. Could have done without this. Tiger Woods, he'll return next week. I'm glad of that at Jack Nicklaus's tournament. I hope he wins next week at Jack Nicklaus's tournament. That will be his 83rd. That'll break the tie he's in with Sam Snead. I don't even want the temptation of thinking about what if he had been in Memphis, we can't see him, and he breaks Sam Snead's record here, and it will be fanless. It's going to be sad for that kind of weather, noteworthy sports monster. That was one a time for somebody to top 82, and he's going to. It's just a matter of when. I'm glad I don't have to. I hope I don't have to see it. I hope he does it next week at Memorial.
I hope he does too. It'd just be salt in the wound. Not only would it be the first time he's been in at this tournament, but of course he wins and breaks the record. Oh my goodness, just add insult to injury.
Don't be cruel.
Yeah,
Cue Elvis.
Come on, COVID. You've already hurt me enough. I don't. 2020. Just let it happen somewhere else, okay?
COVID, you win. Go away, COVID.
What I could have done without the Orioles 2021 schedule release that looks exactly like the 60-game schedule this year. Those will start the season in Boston again. We'll play interleague games with the NL East teams again. I know I'm only one fan in the middle, sitting here in the middle of Memphis, Tennessee, but knowing that I've got to wait years again for another opportunity to see my O's in St. Louis, and the fact that they're only playing
I've never seen them there. It's the only team.
I know, and what even drives me even crazier is that, Atlanta's in the NL East, but they're only playing one series, and it's in Baltimore. Come on, baseball gods, what have I done to upset you? One, you made me an Orioles fan to begin with. That was cruel and unusual punishment. And two, you put me flat dead smack in the middle of the South where I can't see them ever play.
and Peter Angelos, you didn't deserve that.
I didn't deserve that.
You signed up for a good team. You didn't sign up. No Orioles fan signed up for Peter Angelos. And we had a good trip planned way back in April. Man, that seems like a lifetime ago when we were going to go to Busch Stadium to see the Battle of the Birds, the O's and the Cardinals. Keeping a close eye on a lot tonight. I'm at 0.5 on college football. Where are you?
I am 1 to 10 or percentage-wise?
1 to 10. I'm at 0.5.
I'm still at 4. I've still got some faith.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was at 4. I got to 4 briefly. Remember when Dave was at 6? Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Oh, Dave was.
I don't know.
That's our well for us.
I don't know anybody at 6. All right. Baseball, I'm starting at a 3 with them finishing at a 1. What are you?
Starting at a 2.5, finishing at a 1.
Yeah, I mean
it's
got to be down
0.
there low for baseball. Basketball, I'm up a lot more than that. We'll keep a close eye on a lot tonight and into tomorrow. I want to thank for today Clayton Collier from ABC 24, Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports, Tim Doolin on baseball, Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal. Good job, Carl, on your top 10 list, on yours as well, Drew. Tomorrow we will have Bruce Marshall with us from the Gold Sheet, Jeff Brightwell from the Tiger Sports Network, Evie Van Pelt from the Rebel Walk on all things Ole Miss. We'll talk NBA with Andy Schiffman, and we will do our first Tigers W's and L's. We'll keep Purdue on there. We know that's not going to happen
what
now.
Schedule are we going off of?
What the heck? We'll do the best we can tomorrow against Purdue. For Carl, for Drew, and for Dave in his absence, I'm Brett. We'll talk with you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Thank you for listening.
The folks at